because it's 8:30.
Is it really?
It is now 8:31.
8:31.
Well, then I guess.
When did you ever care? Hey, what's up, world? Since when did you ever care
Are we on YouTube?
about us being on time?
What? Because
you're always late.
We're on time today.
Late.
But we are on time today. You can't say anything because we're on time today.
All right.
All right, don't care.
All right, welcome to a Gooned Up Nerds podcast. Today,
this is a terrible intro. That was horrible.
Today we're going to be doing discussion guide _ and then intro to franchise.
Oh my God! Are you literally reading the bullet points I have? Intro to franchise dash how? Jesus. Well, before we get started with anything else, I'm gonna announce one show that we have coming up that we are now gonna be vending at. It's gonna be this Saturday at Shaker's Pub, June 21st. It's a Hard Knocks joint. Thank you to Tony for letting us hop onto this. It's gonna be Do Not Enter, Dead Weight, Splatter Spine, Cycle of Abuse, and Restrictor Plates coming through for this. So please come and check that out. Chastity was on that bill, but they unfortunately had to drop. So we'll see who's going to be put on there in their stead. But thank you again, Tony, for letting us set up there. That's going to be this Saturday, June 21st at Shaker's Pub. So please come check us out in the back. We'll be slinging stuff in the back. And please just check out the rest of the band. Dead Weight's new shit is awesome, so please check them out.
Isn't it Blood and whatever playing?
What?
Isn't
it's a Restrictor Plate.
New band?
Do Not Enter. No, Chastity was supposed to play, but they're not playing anymore.
You didn't say the whatever Blood one.
Okay. I think Lorcan's new band's playing.
Oh, are they replacing? I think
I might be wrong.
Drowning in Blood.
Are.
Yeah,
Drowning in Blood.
That's members of Targeted. That's going to be in that.
So I think they might be.
Okay, so they might be replacing Chastity.
I could be wrong. I don't
Whatever.
know.
Either way, there's going to be another band. If it's Drowning in Blood, which is Lorcan's new project, more power to them. Either way, please come and check it out June 21st. And I'm only going to advertise that show today just because we have a lot to discuss.
So quick one that we didn't announce yet, but we're going to be vending at that August 9th show too. But that's going to get
that's a ways away.
That's going to get announced. But
yeah, it's a ways away. And the Cypher show and all this other stuff that's coming up.
July 18th, Cypher was Sown in Tears, which is fucking awesome.
Wait, we're vending at that too?
Yeah, we are vending at that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but we're vending at a lot of things this coming month.
That's 3 already. I'm sure there's a 4th. I'm forgetting.
It probably is. Actually, I'm going to be vending on June because I can't. There's no other thing on June 13th, right?
July
13th. July 13th.
I don't think so.
Last Friday.
Oh fuck! I missed it. No, July 13th. I'm going to be at the Calling Bell vending. There's going to be a noise show over there. Tenebrae is going to be hosting that. So please check that out. It's going to be July 13th. And I will be vending there. Just the small setup with the nerd stuff.
Behind the plant, a very small table.
Yes, it's actually, I think I'm usually dead center of the room, for that stuff.
That's crazy.
For that stuff, because it's not like a hardcore show where my shit's gonna get kicked around. But yeah. Anyways, we got a lot to discuss today. So it finally came. This is the month that 28 years later drops. I know Dylan's been super excited for this.
23 years ago, one of the best franchises began.
Was it 23 years it was?
Came out, I think, 23 years ago.
That's dumb.
2002, right?
I should have waited 20 years.
2002. Which, if we're going to get into the franchise right now, so this is 28 Days Later. It's probably one of the most seminal zombie films to come out in the past, few decades.
Changed the game.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Really, I guess zombies, I don't want to say we're dead, but there weren't as many zombie movies. I think it was probably more slash.
This was the beginning of the come up of zombie films.
Yeah.
Because after this, the next thing that really kicks it off is Dawn of the Dead remake.
Which I think I saw before I saw this initially.
Really?
Because I saw that in theaters.
You saw Dawn of the Dead in theaters?
Yes. And this came out before I was too old to be.
Oh, all right.
I wasn't young, but I don't think I knew what this was.
Yeah, I went to theaters for this.
You saw some
theaters? I saw 28 Days Later too. My cousin, he worked at the Huntington movie theater. He got me in for free.
You and one other person I know saw in theaters.
And
I'm so jealous.
Ooh, dude, I remember seeing it. I'm like, this is a fucking out the gate. You're like, this is a game changer. Because also, it's funny when you see the trailer for this back in the day. It's a terrible trailer. They play like Resident Evil music, like that shitty techno rock while things are going down, and like 28 days later, coming whatever. I'm like, this just looks like a shitty zombie film. But when you watch it, holy shit, dude! Like we're discussing right now the impact of this on horror and film. I think before this, there was no running zombies.
I was gonna say,
Not that I know of.
No,
I'm pretty sure this directly influenced the remake of.
it did.
Because like
It definitely.
they were running.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here's the thing though. In that movie, they were running, but they weren't like sprinting like in this movie. This was crazy.
Some of them were.
Dude,
Come on, man. That Asian guy at the beginning with no arm, he fucking hightailed it.
I was about to
towards
say
Oh,
that.
but that was still before.
I was gonna say, well, wait.
No, that was after. I mean, that was after.
That was still after. That came out in
Well,
2004.
no, I'm just saying because like these zombies, they're like pumping their arms and running at you
They're
full
running.
speed. The other, like before that, it was
Yeah.
just like
They were
maybe
shambling.
a quick hustle.
I guess the
Whatever.
reasoning behind that would be, if we want to get into it, is because it is a rage virus, and technically they're not zombies. They're still alive. Their bodies are fully functional, and they're just fucking doped up on just adrenaline and rage.
Which also, I think this kind of, I mean, I know there's another movie that predates this, but this is the beginning of that whole, kind of like the divergence in the zombie genre, where now you have undead zombies and then you have infected.
Yeah.
Which is, this is what really kicked it off. Even though I think if you really want to count it, what you call in the early days, I think it was actually still George Romero that did this, the Crazies, which is kind of like almost early Cross.
He might have done the original.
I think he did the original
They
one.
remade
They remade it with the girl from.
Yeah, the remake wasn't bad either.
I like the remake.
I was gonna say this. When did Cross come out? It came out.
Oh
after
no,
this.
Cross came out way after this.
Okay, so yeah, this definitely had a big role in how.
Oh, for sure.
they
Yeah,
function
we're
in
talking
that.
about that now, Griff.
But now, for sure, like it's the infected thing, because then after this, you also start getting things like The Last of Us. You get the sadness.
We don't forget, even it's like I said, in that infection realm, not really zombies, but you had like I Am Legend.
Oh yeah, that's right. I Am
you know,
Legend.
and they were very. I mean, they're more vampiric. and all
Well, the
that,
original
but-
one was vampires.
Yeah.
In the
What was that,
remake,
I Am Omega or whatever.
yeah, Omega Man.
Omega Man.
And then in the remake with Will Smith, that was more like infected people.
When did Omega Man come out?
Oh, that was
That was like,
really-
wasn't that like a Charleston?
I was about to
movie?
say that's a Charlton Heston movie.
Yeah,
Like Soylent Green territory.
So
It's
that's
like
old as fuck.
yeah, like 70s, maybe 60s.
probably black and white.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. It was about a man that was like trapped in like a castle or something while there's what you call it? Oh, of course, fucking. Oh, I thought my alarm was going off. But yeah, it's trapped in a castle while there's vampires trying to get in
Yeah.
and stuff. So, but yeah, that, like I said, that kind of well, at least the Crazies, I think, kind of predates this in terms of infected. But this really took off the whole infected, what you call it, a divergence between infected and the undead. Because once again, you get stuff like The Last of Us. You get stuff like The Sadness Crossed, the Crazies remake. I'm trying to think of, and like you said.
Now I know I'm not a Cross person, but have you read Cross 100 plus?
100 plus I haven't, because it's I don't know if I like the concept of like it's like takes place like 100 years after.
Well, yeah,
or
but
something.
because I'm doing my deep dive on 28 Days
Uh-huh.
and the comics and all that today, and like Cross came across it at a point, and it's got me like thinking now it's 28 years later, because in Cross 100 plus, the infected learn how to make a society
Mhm.
and all that. So now I'm really intrigued to see like what could happen in 28 years later, because if you get into some of the comics, which we'll talk about later on,
Uh-huh.
there are actually two separate comics. I've read one of them pretty much all the way through. I've watched videos on it also, breaking it down, and then I watched some stuff on the other comic. But one of the scientists in the comic talks about how he believes that the virus can evolve, and he needs to find the cure and stop it before it starts doing that. So
Actually,
there's setups
Mhm.
all across the universe
all right,
talking about.
We'll
the
get into this
evolution.
when we actually hit the 20 years later discussion with predictions. So because there's a lot I want to talk about. With
Oh
that.
yeah.
Dylan, were you the one to tell me that the scene where he's on the road, where it's totally empty, they took like months to shoot?
Yep.
So I actually learned more about that today
They had
to
to.
add to this.
It took like, all right, well, we can get into 20 because the only other thing I wanted to discuss in terms of the intro for this is Is this still a zombie film?
Yeah.
Or would you consider it just?
It's a zombie film.
It's a
I mean,
zombie
I
film.
feel like
Whenever there's hundreds of anything coming after you, I consider it a zombie film.
Okay. That's
yeah.
fair.
Would you say
save
like
creature features where it's like bees or bats or some bullshit like that. Obviously, that's not.
So
the
if
same
it's
thing.
humanoid things,
If it's humanoid things coming after you, then yeah. Even like you could argue almost like the Chud movies were.
oh, that's right, Chuds. Oh,
They
Night of the Creeps.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Another
that
one.
those are pretty.
And
so
those are-
would you almost say
that's-
that
and those-
zombie is like the genre, and then there's like the
Subdivision.
subgenres
Yeah,
that
I
are
would
like
say-
the infected, and then
I would
like
say
Yeah, I would
it's
say-
zombie.
runners, and then walkers, and
It's
then
the
like
it's the whole umbrella of zombie, and then underneath the trickles
Underneath you
down
got
to
infected and
specific
undead.
things. Because I'm sure there are things out there that I'm not thinking of right now where they are technically zombie movies, but
I mean, like you
they're
said,
not
what is it,
humanoid anymore, and they get changed around. Because you could say like The Last of Us, some of those things are not zombies; they are creatures.
Yeah, they
you
are
know,
monsters.
like, but it's technically a zombie film because like I think at the root of it is like anything where people are no longer in control of their bodies and there are mass bodies being thrown at you all in unison.
You can also even consider what you call Night of the Creeps and Slither zombie movies because they get taken over and they become zombified people
Yeah, and then that kind of goes into,
under a hive mind, but
it goes into the all the different deviations of zombie because that's a zombie body horror movie.
yeah.
Where it's like okay, because like you said, a hive mind thing too. That's pretty much a zombie movie.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that a being undead or dead or being dead and then coming back is a prerequisite to call anything a zombie movie. Because there's a bunch of those movies where no one dies, they get infected and they turn into whatever.
Yeah. Like I
No.
said, this really did change the game 28 Days Later to really create these kind of subgenres within the zombie film franchise.
It made it a hell of a lot scarier.
It
oh
did.
my god,
Even though I believe that we'll discuss it, but this and even the next movie after this takes from already pre-existing zombie movies a lot. But I mean, getting into now 28 Days Later, the first one, this is the introduction to the entire franchise, and you get introduced to probably one of the more iconic characters, Jim. Opens up verbatim, freaking Walking Dead ripped this off completely, where a man wakes up out of a coma to find that his world has kind of ended, and he has to navigate through this world. And of course, he meets up with people, and this is their odyssey throughout this new landscape of infected people taking over the world for them.
and it's one of the best like character development movies ever.
It
Like,
does.
the way they like
It's not very bright.
mesh. No, I mean, but homie just came out of the coma.
I know.
His brain's probably not working.
I know. I get.
He literally
that.
has a scar on his head
I
from
get
brain
that.
surgery.
I get that, but if I woke up in a very quiet place, the last thing I would do is make a bunch of sounds.
Yeah, he is not a strong survivalist,
Yeah.
but it helps with the character building. It helps with how everything like plays out. It helps with how the characters mesh with each other and
True.
grow with each other, and their views change because even when they introduce Selena, her views of the world is very different to how they are to when they end.
True. I feel
But-
like you don't get a lot of chances in this.
Yeah, but
Series.
100%, he's a fucking idiot.
But like I said, I don't think you get many chances to fuck up and then learn from it.
I mean, that's like
Yeah.
one criticism I'll say I have in this because a lot of these movies they always start, but there's that one super naive person that doesn't know. He has an excuse, but I feel like in a lot of these other, there's always that one person that kind of still acts like the world is still intact, and it's just like, hey, there's a group of people. Actually, I think they bring it up in the comic. Hey, look, there's a group of people over there. Hey, what's up over here? And then they just start beelining for you, and you're just like, what the fuck? And then you realize
that
what you
actually
just did.
happen.
But actually, Jim, like once again, he's yelling. The beginning of this is him just yelling at a desolate London,
Yep.
just trying to find someone because there's no one around, and it's still daytime, where I guess most of the infected are kind of like hiding out or just in whatever, because they really don't discuss why it's like safer to go out through the day than it is at night. But
yes, Scribbles. I think Jim says hello more than anything else he says in this movie.
Well, I was going to say also.
Hello is like a huge thing in this movie. I feel like there's a circulation around that word.
I think the date thing just comes down to we can fucking see them. You know?
A lot
At
easier.
night,
yeah.
it's just like, oh well, fuck, we can't even. You have no idea.
Yeah, they come out. Yeah, they do this thing. It's more prevalent in the next movie where for infected, they can be super stealthy when they're running. Like, you won't hear anything, and then you'll literally just hear like pitter patter like 2 seconds before you get jumped by something.
You ever notice like how the budget really shows in this first movie, because there's really never a scene where there's more than 7 zombies.
Yep. No,
There's no hordes in this, but it's still like the effect it has is horrifying when you see those groups of zombies in this movie.
What do you call it? The budget in this is so.
I think it's $5 million.
It's very low. And the thing that's crazy about this is a great example of really good and tight film production with a truncated budget. These guys really made use of whatever they had at the moment. Like we were discussing before, the whole London scene where he's like on the bridge right near the palace and just starts yelling hello or trying to find someone. They had to what? Like they
So I think it was over 9 days from I believe you're right, Scribbles. I think they were students that they got from like the university to come act it out and all that. But so yeah, they shut the roads down, I think, for like it had to be a couple of minutes at the early points of the day, and I think it was over the course of like 6 to 9 days. And they had students kind of like navigating traffic, just like, hey, like hang on, we're just shooting the scene real quick and you could go by. And then like I just found this out today that they had like the cops run up on them because they're doing this scene without any permission. And like the best way to describe it to like Americans is they're essentially shooting this on like the same street as the White House.
Jesus.
Like I guess that was like the easiest way to describe this. And they got these cameras like everywhere and all that because it's early, so I guess there wasn't like that much traffic.
But I'm saying, how do they have people on fire?
Oh no, this is
probably different. This is just when he was walking around.
Okay, I thought because like
no, this was Jim being in desolation.
Got you.
Yeah, the very
beginning. I was like, this is just incredible.
No.
But that would be nuts. So apparently, a couple of weeks before they started shooting all of this, like there was an IRA attack, and like everyone was scared. I don't know if it was attack or scare, but everyone was like on edge, and they started like shooting these scenes, and they had these roads blocked off, and they had like all these cameras mounted at the buildings, and apparently like the cops like came in full force. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, we're shooting a movie. Like,
oh my god, that's insane. I mean, once again, this is just a testament to just how good they are able to use the budget. And also with this, I know that because it's Danny Boyle that directed this, right? And it was Alex Garland.
Alex Garland wrote it, and Danny Boyle directed.
And Danny Boyle, man, like this is actually one of the first films I think that was done with this new digital camera that just came out, and that's why it's all really kind of grainy, and stuff because there's no super clean copy. It's kind of like Dog Soldiers,
dude. None.
Because digital back then was fucking 420p.
Yeah, it was not great.
So,
but to the testament of the direction and the cinematography of this, which we're going to discuss, it helps. It makes it feel more real.
Yeah. It's hit or miss though. There's people who say that they're like, no, it definitely makes the movie feel better. It adds to it, all that. And then there's people I talk to, they're like, they cannot fucking stand it. Like they hate that it's shot like this. And I'm like, I really don't think it's bad. And you just almost feel like you're watching an early 90s movie or some shit.
No, this
like,
honestly
big deal.
Because this could look really, really bad very easily.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, Dog Soldiers. It's one of our favorite movies as well.
Yes, we did.
We got to post it somewhere up there, right? I assume. But yeah, we have a review out there somewhere on Instagram.
It's on Instagram. But yeah, no, I mean, like, and also not for nothing, being that this is an English project, it's just the fact that the graininess, I'm like, I just expect that because they have that weird resolution for a lot of BBC stuff.
Yeah.
That looks like it's made on like a home camera. But yeah, getting into the characters of all these of this movie, there's Jim, who's the main guy. The group that he comes across, the main girl is Selena, who has also another great arc in this, along with Jim.
Yeah.
Where she is literally like that badass bitch that's just not taking shit from anybody, and I don't care. I'm gonna live.
Yeah.
If you can't keep up with me or you get in my way, I'm just gonna leave or kill you.
Yeah.
Like I will live.
I was gonna say she's probably like the archetype for characters like Carol or Michonne and stuff like that.
Michonne for sure.
Where like, I will kill you. Like I will kill you.
Yeah, those people that like quickly adapted to the what happened.
Yeah,
and
they're
everything.
the survivors. You know what
Yep.
I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like she's a bad bitch. in this
Yeah.
movie.
And then it's actually a really good juxtaposition because when you get introduced to her, you're also introduced to Mark, who was her partner at the time, who was traveling with her, and he's the optimistic one. He's the one that wants to make plans. He's the one that's like, look, we could figure out a way out of here or something.
Yeah.
He was trying to make progressive ideas when she's like, I just want to fucking survive. Because in her mind, or in their minds at this point, because he's pretty much at the point we're watching here in the background, at this point, they think that the world is fucked. Like, because they're like, oh, we heard about outbreaks in Europe,
I think
and New York.
France and like New York.
In New
you'd
York,
say.
yep. And then he's discussing, and this is the one time that I'll say in a film, it's fine that you tell me and you don't show me, because there's a lot of films where they tell you all this cool shit that's happening, but they never show it to you. Or you're like, I want to see that. Why is that not in the film? But that's usually from lesser films where everything around it is fucking dog shit anyways, and they don't know how to use their budget. With this, it's clear that they obviously couldn't film those crazy. Mark is discussing an airport scene where his family gets taken and there's like a wave of infected in the airport. They can't film that with the
was
budget.
he saying like everyone was like walking on top of each other? Or something?
Yeah,
like,
he
just
was like
bodies.
he was describing it like I just started walking. The ground was soft. Everything was soft because he was just walking on bodies. Daisy, relax. Daisy's here and she's whining. But yeah, like I like the fact that they do this kind of tell but don't show, but that's just because of the budget. It works here because everything else around this is very strong. The other thing I wanted to touch upon was the atmosphere of this. This is a very atmospheric movie. Like it's really like you really look into like the color palette, the soundtrack. The desolation is the biggest thing that they try to kind of focus on here. Like these people are alone, or for the most part alone, and everything around them is hostile. Like
everyone got evacuated, and if they didn't get evacuated, they're infected.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it. And
Selena talks about like she hasn't heard like radios for like a couple of weeks, and like a couple of weeks, it's like it's only been like 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So like you're saying this shit took everything out. Why are you eating the table? So like to not have any like radio contact with anyone like essentially 2 weeks in,
which is kind of
fucking nuts.
I mean, it kind of I feel like there's an explanation for that when you get to kind of the twist at the end of the movie. But yeah, the fact that this virus took everything out so fucking quickly. And also, it takes off because of the dumbest fucking reason. Nature activists. If a doctor is running into the room and telling you, don't touch anything,
There's more to it.
And, oh, really?
One of the doctors called the activists to go there.
Oh,
essentially.
Shit. On purpose, huh?
Yeah, because
what is this in the
initially, yeah, so like in the comics, initially they're trying to control like rage, and like they're trying to make it a like not inhibitor. They're trying to do the opposite. So they're getting like all these like violent test subjects from like prison, and they're testing it, and it's not working. And one of the doctor and they cross it with Ebola, because Ebola spreads so fast. So that's why they're like always vomiting their sides up, because it's Ebola also. Mm-hmm. So they cross it with that, and it like turns into this, and the doctor's like, oh, we fucked up. So he calls like an animal activist group to give them a heads up about the lab where he worked at, and then unlives himself. And then the other doctor gets a deal from like either the U.S. government or some shady figure, and they're like, weaponize this bitch. So like they keep working on the apes and everything. Mm-hmm. And then actually in the comics, that doctor walks into that lab and gets attacked by a monkey, and it's assumed to be the monkey that the activists let out. Mm-hmm. And he walked into the aftermath of it.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, that's a little bit of the comics.
Yeah.
That, I hadn't read that one. There's apparently like 4 like anthologies in that. It follows like 4 different groups throughout the first like month of infection.
For the first initial outbreak.
Yeah.
All right, that's interesting because the thing I'll give this franchise also is that it does a really good job of world building with minimal stuff. Like they don't put in too much stuff, and they just slowly start layering in how things are working. And
There's a lot. There's a website, bro.
jeez, Daisy, what is it? She's bugging out, but and. What was I saying? All right,
DVD Scribbles has a lot of cool shit. I haven't watched it in a while, but I do own it. I know they have like the 2 other different endings, not actually in there, but like the screenplay of the endings and how the movie was going to initially play out and stuff like that. And then
There's
a few other, well, the main ending and then the 2 different endings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I thought there was another one too.
I mean, there might have been another one.
I know 2 were kind of filmed and 1 wasn't.
So I think there was just one where like Jim died rather than him surviving.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was another one where Frank lives, but by doing so, they do a blood transfusion
with
Jim, and they take all the blood out of Jim and like put it in Frank and vice versa, and then Frank is cured and Jim's infected, essentially. And then the initial ending.
I'm glad they didn't go with that other one. Because anyways, getting into the other characters too, since we're talking about Frank, midway through the movie, or probably like at the end of the first act, they are introduced to Hannah and Frank, father and daughter kind of combo, where I think they added them in here because this movie is very bleak.
It's horrifically bleak.
It is very depressing because there's a lot of down notes in this. Because they do lose Mark in the most brutal fucking way.
Yeah. So Mark, I'm sure he got bit. Like, I'm sure he did.
Oh, he totally.
But to this day, I feel like there's a bit of a little like, did he just cut himself on some glass, or was he bit? And Selena gave no fucks and hacked that man apart. Like, not even like peacefully. Like, he suffered. He had a horrible death.
Yeah, it was like it was brutal. Here's the other thing too. This movie is not super gory, but the parts where they show any blood or any sort of violence, it's visceral. Like it feels real. Where like when like I said, when Mark goes, he's like screaming to high heaven. The way that he's going, it's clearly not a clean kill because she is hacking at him.
Well, she takes the arm off first
because he tries blocking it. That's why. He's blocking a fucking machete with his arm out of panic because he doesn't know what to do, and he's not built for it, and not for nothing. Selena acted so quickly he couldn't.
Oh yeah.
He couldn't even defend himself or try to get away. Like she just went right for him, which is once again kind of a really good kind of starting point for her personal arc throughout this movie. And then when they get introduced to Hannah and Frank, once again it kind of adds some levity because Frank. Played by what's that guy's name? Something Gleason.
Frank is played by what is it like? Mad Eye Moody.
Yeah, Mad Eye Moody.
Mad Eye Moody.
Wait, is that the dad?
That's the dad.
Yeah,
he was in Harry Potter.
He was in what you call it, Gangs of New York.
Yeah, he was in a bunch of.
Yep. Wasn't he the guy who like became mayor?
Yeah, he's the guy with the shillelagh.
Fucking head bashed in real quick.
Oh, he got Brendan Gleeson.
The fact that he survives getting attacked by 2 infected, like with all that glass and everything.
No, yeah,
plot armor. Jim had plot armor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And also, like she's just hacking and spraying blood. And look at that bitch had bloody hands all over him. Like,
yeah, I mean,
it's insane.
At this point, yeah, it's very much plot armor because I mean, statistically speaking, something would have gone into someone's mouth, eyes, pores. Like you have pores.
His hands are cut up with glass.
Like they should have been infected with something. We're talking about the first attack when Mark dies in Jim's house because they're all kind of shacked up there because he wanted to check to see if his parents were still alive, which obviously they were not. But yeah, like once Hannah and Frank come into the mix, they add this sort of like kind of like levity because he's so positive in this. He's like, look. We can work together. I need you guys to help me travel out of the city so we can go to this safe spot that they keep hearing over the radio by some army guys that apparently have posted up somewhere. And he's like, listen, if something happens to me, I need someone to take care of my daughter. And you guys can help. Obviously, Selena doesn't want any part of this because she's that type like they're just going to slow us down. And once again, she thinks that that they need her more than you know what I mean. But I mean, I'll say Hannah has a point because Hannah does kind of contend this and be like, hey, look. We kind of need each other. There's no other way around it. We need to get out of the city.
Yeah.
There's no way we can prevent them because even when they meet up with Hannah and the dad, that whole scene of them getting into the apartment buildings, which once again, awesome cinematography in that. Like that whole thing where you see all the carts piled up where they tried making like a barricade.
Yeah.
And obviously it does not work. Because like immediately, like infected just scale the thing to try and get at Selena and Jim. But it's a cool scene because it's like these people tried their best to try and keep themselves like contained and just it didn't work. And also, not for nothing, you don't know if Frank and Hannah are the only ones in that building. There could be other people in there
hiding
too.
out in other rooms,
just being quiet.
Also, the carts definitely do work just as like a deterrent for like any effect. Just
I mean,
wandering up there.
You could also hear them.
Well, that, but it's more like if it was just open, they could just wander up there. You know, if it's covered, then at least it's going to be harder for them to wander in there.
Yeah,
if they want to get in, they're getting in no matter what. But they're way less likely to just go up a couple flights of stairs with the doors open.
That's true. That's true. They can't just wander up. They'd actually have to climb. And I don't think unless they're like actually like stimulated, they're not going to actually go out of their way to climb.
Yeah, they're going to take the
all right, so he just initially said no one else lives in this apartment.
Okay. So
because he said he was using the water from all the other apartments, and then they finally ran out. So this is why his whole bucket's set up.
And this is why they can stay in the apartment building because there's no running.
It hasn't rained in like a week either.
Which is, he makes the joke like that's crazy for London. Like in London, there's always at least rain once a week, and he's like, "Fuck." So they have to leave. And then this kind of becomes a road trip movie at this point.
I like how one of the buckets is a laundry basket
with holes in it.
That's not gonna work.
I remember seeing that in theaters. I'm like, he knows that that's not gonna catch any water. Right?
Yeah, Scribbles. I'm really like interested as to what the infected do when nothing's there, because like when you just saw the chained up soldier that the soldiers had. He was just like idle. He just stood there, like staring at the walls.
Well,
like,
that's one thing.
Breathing heavily.
That's one
like,
thing that they kind of
angry.
keep consistent with a lot of these zombie films. It's like they will stay sedentary until stimulated by something. Yeah. Like in the beginning, when Jim goes to the church when he initially gets chased, nothing is reacting until he finally yells out into the church, and then out of nowhere they just pop up.
Yeah,
and they're just staring at him like, is that my target? All right. And then they just go after him.
Oh, yeah. Dude, when they pop up with the open mouths, it's so
they look horrifying. They were like,
yeah, where you're just like, oh, you fucked up, dude. And it's like 6 of them. It's like, all right, fuck that, dude. Especially when you see the priest like pop out and stuff. Great scene. Yeah. Once again, so many iconic scenes in this for just any zombie movie or whatever. But yeah, at this point, it becomes more of a road trip movie where these guys are going to try to get from point A to point B.
I like that he took 1 bottle of whiskey. It was like, I'll take 2.
You
know what? I'm just taking 4.
I was laughing in the theaters. Me and my cousin were watching. He's like, "Come on, take another one."
I thought he was gonna go for a 5th. Like, that's hilarious, dude.
So that's cool. I didn't know that. Apparently, Danny Boyle said the light hurts their eyes because all the capillaries burst. So that's why they try and stay in the dark for the most part.
Oh,
that's cool.
That's actually smart.
So that's actually a really cool.
Oh, and Dylan, you have to point out every time you can see the camera in this movie.
Oh yeah, the camera scene when the soldiers come.
You're like, but if you didn't point it out, I would have not noticed.
Yeah.
No, because it looked like a soldier just chilling there, maybe with his rifle.
Yeah, but you're like, they're by themselves right now.
I gotta mention this once again for the cinematography in this too. Like, there's a point where they're driving and there's you see a field of flowers and stuff, but the way that the filter they put on it, it makes it look like it's a painting.
Yeah.
Like when you see it, it just, once again, it's like he really just tries to use whatever he can to style it. See, look at that.
Yeah.
It looks like a fucking polish painting.
Yeah, like pastel.
Yeah. But it looks really cool. A lot of the what you call it, the set pieces, the big landscapes and stuff look absolutely gorgeous in this. Like Danny Boyle really knows how to like kind of set the mood and really give you this whole feeling of these people.
The cinematography is amazing.
It's great. It's great. The lighting in this, they do such a good job of just setting the atmosphere in this. Like I have like very few like real like hard criticisms for this movie. To be honest, it's actually kind of hard for me to find some issues with this.
So it's pretty funny. I watch this other YouTube channel, and the guy does like everything wrong with this movie.
Yeah.
And did you ever watch his on this?
No.
It got like he's always like, oh, that's like a minus deadbeat. I forget what he calls it, but that's like a slash. That's a slash. No, like, I think this finished like positive 28 when all other movies are like negative like 80 or some shit. And it was like, this was fucking done right. Like this. And I think The Last of Us, he gave it like a really good,
because it's a
seasonal.
It's a tight, like, once again, you have good arcs for everybody. Like, even when it comes to the dad, actually, we'll have to talk about.
I think the movie, what is it? Is it an hour and a half?
About an hour and a half.
Okay, yeah, it's about an hour and a half. It's definitely not 2 hours. It flows really well.
Yeah, like an hour and a half.
But it is, it's
definitely
a quick
it's like
movie.
2 hours.
Oh yeah, it is like a 2 hour movie.
Well, the
pacing
pacing is
is
good.
like an hour and a half. That's
Okay.
a little bit shorter.
Okay, but I mean the
pacing's amazing because it flies by.
Yeah,
like,
you
I
don't
feel like
notice it.
it's like a 45-minute watch sometimes. Like the scenes go so well.
Yeah, like I said, the pacing in this is good, and especially even for a movie that looks like it's going to be boring because it's just a lot of kind of silent parts where they're traveling for the most part, but you get kind of so engulfed in like the atmosphere and just the set pieces and stuff that you're just like, all right, I am still invested in this movie. Like I can tell a movie's good when there's nothing really going on, but I'm still glued to the screen because I want to see what's going to happen, or if there's anything I could see in the background or something. I mean, like I said, when it comes to the character development in this, Frank, like I said, you see Jim go from this naive wanderer that just doesn't know what the fuck is going on and kind of just walking through this, like, you know, I could probably survive this just being lackadays or whatever the fuck, to I am slowly molding into someone that can survive this and will not hesitate at a moment's notice. The scene we're watching right now is his first kill.
And it's a fucking child.
And it's a fucking kid. And
he also said hello.
Bike delivery man to Batman.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
The last cheeseburger.
You're not even wrong, man, because that last scene, he's definitely Batman fighting those soldiers.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. But like, what you call it? Yeah, no. And like, he didn't even have to kill that kid because he shouldn't have gone into that place.
I was going to say, what's up with all the people that kind of look like they just died in place?
They probably got beat to death. The zombies, the infected don't just infect; they'll just beat you.
No. There were 2 people sitting at a table.
It's very possible it could be like a Jonestown situation where they're just like
everyone murked themselves,
or maybe some people just bodies can't handle the virus and it just kills them outright. Because that would explain why a bunch of old people in the Dell and like there were 3 old people in there that were just keeled over. They weren't beaten or anything. They just like stopped working.
That is true because the way that the virus works, you're just expelling fluids. So if you're old and you can barely hold down water already and you're spewing blood, you're dead in like an hour.
Yeah. So it was just a little weird because some people like they clearly weren't killed. They just looked like
could have been soldiers came by and just shot everyone too.
But no one was shot there.
Or
it
could
blood.
It could also you couldn't tell either because they were decayed. They were decayed.
That's what I'm saying. They were decaying, but there wasn't pools of blood. There was no spray. There were no holes. We're gonna
go with budget.
And also, yeah, we could also say that too. I was about to say this could actually be a hole in the movie where it's just like he just kind of put that there for aesthetic and for atmosphere, and without any explanation of how they got there.
True.
You know, that could actually be a hole in the movie, but not for nothing. Like I said, you could be right. Like they got infected and they just couldn't like handle the virus and went into shock. Or they could have just been beaten like at the table.
That also explains why the mom and the kid died too, because like the mom maybe just had a kid, weakened immune system, just kind of like keeled over, and then obviously a baby just can't do anything.
Unless she fell with the baby, those heads are soft, man.
Well, I'm saying if she fell with the baby's not gonna get up.
No, the baby is not.
Yeah.
He's like, well,
so
I'm done here.
Who knows why? But yeah, it's just weird that because also another weird thing is like. When he's in the church in the beginning, I thought about this. Like, why are all the bodies in there? That doesn't make any sense to me personally. Like
that could have been a Jonestown situation.
If they were all in there and they got attacked, they would have been all spread out. Everyone was trying to leave. They wouldn't all just be giant piles like that. and it was just like were they just
That could have been a Jonestown situation though, because it's a church.
But
that could have been government too.
But here's the thing.
True.
Well, maybe, but it didn't look like everyone was shot up to pieces. It was just like.
Well, then again, dude, it's not like they closed up enough where
Yeah,
you could see like
it just
bullet
looked
holes.
like rubble.
And not for nothing,
honestly.
too. At this point, it's been long enough where the blood could have dried. Everything
You know
is
what?
all murky in there.
You're right. It might have been more of like a government thing where they're like, well, there's a lot of dead people. Where are we going to put them?
No, they just left them there, and for the most part, it seems like the
That's-
military in this kind of just did what they could, and then they're like, all right, fuck this, we're not winning this, and they just fucked off.
Maybe it was kind of still that scenario where like people got infected, their bodies couldn't handle it, and they died. So they just like have a bunch of hundreds of dead bodies in their hand, and it's like, whoa.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like once again, this virus took over so quickly. It wasn't like the crazies where they could quarantine people and then burn them in a truck or something.
Yeah.
Like they would just had to do whatever they could. I guarantee you, like when I read stuff like World War Z, the book and stuff, and they talk about how they have to try and separate people that got bitten and whatever. It's like we don't have time for that now. Like if you're not past this line at this point, anyone else that comes through, we're just mowing you down. Or if they're trying to go from like in a city, go from like building to building, just trying to clear them out, they're just shooting whoever the fuck is there. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, too, like I said, this could also just be actual holes in the movie where he just set that up there for atmosphere.
Oh, I mean, we could look at that after the fact too, but it was just interesting because most of the people in this movie do not die easy.
No, like they die very violently in this movie, and then not only that, like, but once again, like I guess if I want to start comparing other movies to this movie actually reminds me a lot. And we just watched this before, Day of the Dead. There's a lot of similarities between this and Day of the Dead.
Is that with Bob?
Yeah, with Bub.
Bob.
What'd you call it? Think about it. In the beginning of the movie, like in the beginning of Day of the Dead, that whole like hello thing, they did that exact same thing in Day of the Dead. Instead of someone coming out of the hospital, they were in a helicopter, landed in the middle of the city, yelling in a bullhorn, "Hello, is anybody out there?"
Pull from everything.
I'm just saying. This is probably the most similar to that because also it's like you're kind of dealing with these humans just trying to get through this, and then later on when you deal with the military, that's when it starts picking up like Day of the Dead again, where it's military taking over this one thing that these guys had going on, and then on top of that, especially when they all start getting murked later, it's very much Day of the Dead because they all kind of get their comeuppance at the end. And then not only that, so you could also consider Mailer the bub of this situation because Mailer, when we get to that, at least he is not like the other infected really. He seems more of like predatory and as opposed to just being chaotic and like I'm just going after the first thing I see.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's just because he's there. He's trapped. It's the one time you actually have an infected in a closed off location that you can see. Like you never see.
But here's the thing too. It's when we, I mean, I guess we could just start skipping.
I mean, look at Don. You want to go crazy? Look at Don.
We'll get into that because that also ties into this other conversation we were having before. But for Bub too, I guess my defense for that would be there's a point where Jim releases him. And Bub sees Jim, but Bub doesn't like try and lunge for Jim. He just bails out the door.
But they didn't try and lunge for Jim in the church either. They went right for the stairs, and they went right up the stairs after him.
No, didn't Jim leave the building first, and then they just followed him out?
But the priest came up the stairs.
No, he came out of the door.
Yeah, but you hear like the stomping up the door, like, and then the door swings open.
The priest was up there.
No, he was up there already.
No. You hear like all the banging, like, and then he's staring at the door, and then the priest hits the door open. The priest wasn't down there looking at him.
No. But I'm saying he was upstairs already. The priest was already at the door.
They're going to get to you how they know how to get to you. Like they're not going to scale walls. You never see any of the infected in this movies do that shit.
Yeah, but at that point, when you see where he is in the wall, though, it looks like feasibly, if he sees him, he could just lunge for him. Over there, he's actually on a huge balcony. He's on a balcony and stuff. Where obviously they can't.
I just like remember the scene when he's first shown in that room when he introduces. You can't climb. That dude was in a fucking cement cell. When you look at it from that angle, it's a cement cell. There's like windows in the lower level.
Because I have to see how high this is.
No,
it feels like he was just kind of like on a little banister.
No, he was at least like 15 feet. He was on the roof. of the building. That's how he got to the one guy and gouged his eyes out. He came in through the fucking ceilings and shit.
All right, well, we'll fast forward that too in a minute. Frank, when they finally reached the blockade and stuff, and they realized that the military guys aren't there, this is kind of like the ending of Frank's arc, which is like he goes from like this super positive guy, like we'll find something, everything will be cool, and then when he finally gets to there and he sees there's nothing there, he immediately just crashes out.
Yeah, he loses it
completely. And it's funny, the one time you actually see him get like really angry, he gets infected, and in the dumbest way possible too. By the way,
it's
this movie shows like I almost want to say I don't know. It shows so many like human mistakes and errors, and basic and simple that like you just do every fucking day, but things you do every day that can lead to your death like that easy.
Yep.
Like he kicked a fence, and it led to blood dripping into his eye.
Yep.
Getting him infected.
It's insane, and not only that too. Like even if you look at other zombie things, like when I remember, I think it was in World War Z. I read where some guys like, my boy got infected because
Cameraman.
Where?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. They're about to pan. They're like, all right, quick, we fucked up.
I think you're right because I forgot the soldier was right there.
That actually looked, but it does look like a soldier with like a scope or a rifle or something.
That's probably why they didn't even reshoot it. They're like, fuck it.
We
got it.
But what you call it?
They did run up the shopping carts at Frank's apartment.
They did.
No, I said they did.
No, I know. I'm just responding to our viewers.
Oh, yeah. They totally ran off, but yeah.
But what you call it? So you have that. You have the arc with Frank, where it just. And I was saying before, like in World War Z, somebody was just like, my boy shot a zombie. It went through the bullet went through the zombie, but then the bullet went into someone behind him, and the bullet didn't kill him, but the blood carried from that bullet from the zombie to the person infected that person. So like little things like that could always end up getting you something simple. For all you know, like he could have just scraped his hand on like a fence, a rusty fence that has dried blood on it, and he would have gotten infected. Like it's crazy. But you understand also why this virus spread so fucking quickly. There's so many ways for you to get it. The only thing that would have sucked if it became airborne. If it became airborne, that's it. There would be no movie because everyone would be dead. But like, but yeah, now that they get to the complex, we kind of start seeing, well, in my opinion, what becomes more of like the Day of the Dead thing, where these military men have bunkered down into this place. The main officer, what's his fucking name? I remember him from being in one of the Doctor Who series.
He is.
He's one of the doctors.
He's like one of the. I think he's like the main Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's Christopher Eccleston. He's Major.
I could be wrong. I haven't watched a lot of it, but I think he's like the one that like everyone like knows is Doctor Who.
He kind of reminds me of the guy from Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, and Alien 3.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. The guy that plays Tywin Lannister.
The Doctor, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like him.
Yeah.
But what you call it? Another thing where I'm like kind of comparing this to the Dawn of Day of the Dead. In Day of the Dead, they had Bub, and they had that doctor was interacting with him to try and figure out Bub. The Major's kind of doing the same thing with Mailer, which is the infected soldier that they captured, because he wants to try and understand him. Not only understand him, the biggest thing is figure out when they're eventually going to starve to death.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to understand shit.
But did you hear? But you see how he monologues.
Well, that's how he says it. That's why
he monologues and talks just like that doctor.
He talks like a dick.
He talks like the fucking doctor. Like there's some deeper meaning behind the psychotic shit that he's doing. The doctor was just hacking up people and feeding it to Bub and hoping that.
I don't think he was speaking like there was deeper meaning.
Yes, he was.
He taught me that they don't sleep.
Oh, please.
He taught me that they don't think.
And
then he's going to teach me that they starve to death soon.
He was monologuing like a supervillain. All right, I'm not gonna get. No, he was trying to make it seem like there was some deeper meaning behind the psychotic shit he was doing.
Of course, he's gonna put deeper. There is.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm comparing him to the Doctor from Day of the Dead, who's doing the same thing. When honestly, the Doctor was just butchering people and playing with zombies. That's what at the end of the day, what was happening. And in this one, he's kind of fucking around with the zombie, and then also the twist that they have at the end of this is that. These guys don't actually have the cure for infection. Their idea for the cure of infection is, number one, waiting out the infected and repopulating the earth with whatever females they could attract and kind of trap in this little compound that they have, which unfortunately is Selena and Hannah when they show up. But that is his answer to infection, which kind of, not only that, that's the first twist, and then there's one that's compounded later when one of the other soldiers starts talking. I forget the guy's name, but he's actually in, since this is a Danny Boyle flick, he also did Trainspotting. There's a few Trainspotting people in here. And the guy that says, what you call it? You know, the good soldier?
Fowler.
Yeah. He number one, he helps protect Jim and his party, especially when things go completely sideways. And then eventually the soldiers turn on Jim because they realize he's a threat to their whole greater scheme of pretty much molesting these girls. And then the other guy, what was his name? Fowler?
Yes.
And they take him because he obviously goes against the program.
So what was the other plot behind him?
So the other...
It was a very long-winded...
No, you mean the twist?
Yeah.
What he discusses when they get taken away is that he thinks that the virus is isolated to just the island of London and England and stuff, which everyone thinks that the world has ended. And then later on, when they actually go to execute them both and they manage to get away, Jim looks up into the sky and he sees that there's a plane.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
All right.
That's the only reason why I think Jim goes the way he goes. Is because he actually found a reason to keep Selena and everyone alive because he knows that there is life outside of this. Mm-hmm. So then he goes all rage-like, which shows that we're not really any different than the infected, blah, 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 and like fucking brutally murks all these soldiers using the help of Mallory. And he's like disappearing behind the walls and getting up on the roof, letting Mallory like tear apart the other soldiers.
Which, by the way, there's some parts that I know it's supposed to be a really like bleak and like grim like attack scene when the infected show up because Jim goes out. He kind of breaks
the first Doctor of the reboot. Okay.
Okay.
And then yes, Batman mode. We were talking about Batman mode, right?
And then what you call it? What you call it? So when they're attacking all the soldiers, the screams that some of them have are hilarious. Like the private, the one that's a terrible cook.
Yeah. Like
when he pretty much is getting, you just see them. All right, we have everyone. What's that noise? You just see him running across, screaming like a girl, while these two like infected chase him, and they're like, "What the fuck is happening here?" Oh, I think it's because the Major comes back from trying to get Jim, and he realizes that the doors are wide open and that and no one's around.
Yeah.
But at this point, by the time the Major comes back, all of his boys are pretty much like infected or dead. And they also show one part where I don't think that because the soldier says at one point, I don't have any bullets. Like, so did they, besides like the weapons they have just to defend the perimeter, were they like almost out of ammunition? Like, was it like
either that or
a Snowpiercer kind of thing where they pretended?
He just like used all his ammo and then just got scared because like you think they're like this hardened like platoon when they clear that first attack with all their defenses and the whole open field, but when it came to like CQB and actually move, like there's only like two or three of them that were like
very quickly. And here's the thing: it feels like almost like these were kind of the fuck ups that were just able to get away. Like the actual like hardened military dudes are all gone because they were probably on the front lines doing whatever they could, and these are the guys that kind of cowered away, were able to get away. You know what I mean? So these could actually just be the fuck up people from all these platoons that just happen to make
it. Well, they want some shit detail that didn't really matter.
Yeah,
you guys are too much of a fuck up to that.
They could have been. They could have done like they could have been on the perimeter, like this perimeter here, the outskirts, and then
probably were. And then probably all they've been.
And then once that got taken out, they were like, all right, fuck this. We're the last survivors. Let's go to that house and let's bunk up. But yeah, and then and once again for the twist at the end of this, fucking awesome. Because it felt like almost like a Twilight Zone episode where like one, you find out that the military is there, they're going to fuck you. And then two, like literally, and then two, that you find out that this is not a global pandemic. This is just isolated to the island, like Fowler said, where they basically just quarantined us, which explains why radios probably went down so quickly. Maybe they just shut down the radio so no one could get information. Maybe they shut down like satellites and stuff so no one could access the internet or anything. So that no one knows that there's still people out there. So that way, whoever's left can just either survive or get taken out. And then when they come in the next movie to clear everything out,
That guy have alopecia?
No, he just has a shitty haircut.
What? No, that looks like alopecia.
No, I think it's just a shitty haircut, dude. There's another one there where the guy looked like he was trying to do like a camo pattern on his head.
He's missing. He has perfect bald spots all over his head.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just some weird crazy thing. Maybe he's picking at his hair. It's some stress thing. I don't know, but there was him and there's some other guy that has a weird fucked up haircut. All right, I was confused about that when I saw this 23 years ago.
I was like,
Okay,
what's up with your hair, bro?
Yeah, Scribbles. That's the comic that I read. We're gonna get to that soon.
we're gonna probably get into
Probably
it right
not.
after
It's
this.
probably gonna take another hour.
Oh look,
before we get to it.
alopecia.
But anyways, so I mean we're pretty much at the end of this. So, what's your favorite scene out of this?
Everything.
No,
I was gonna say honestly, the opening scene.
Everything.
To really give you a sense of desolation in there. You know, like he is fucking alone. That's like our equivalent to some waking up in like New York City and walking around. There's no one there.
I like most of the scenes where you just kind of like see the infected and how they kind of act and run, like the gas station scene after Jim gets kind of chased down and then meets with Selena. The scene we're watching right now where the Major's trying to get back and you just see the infected running down the hill. And what I love is that the camera doesn't like just stay on them and just so you see them. You get quick glimpses like you're the guy that's looking back and forth for a way out, but still seeing that the infected are coming at them.
Also, it's crazy that they're just like running at him and much of them are just not wearing clothes.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
terrifying.
That's terrifying and realistic too. They mentioned that in World War Z, where it's like you think that you're gonna see zombies like all dressed up in like their clothes and like in Dawn of the Dead, where I just saw two random dudes in football gear, full football gear, just walking around. But no, the reality is the clothes are gonna get torn off. The things are gonna fall. Like they're probably gonna be naked.
And there's barbed wire. He's up there.
Oh, he's up there. You're right.
So he probably was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to go up the fucking staircase," and then found everyone else.
Oh, and this scene actually I thought was really funny too. Where Hannah. So basically they were gonna actually about to rape these girls, and then Hannah takes a Xanax or was it? Well, yeah, no, she takes a Xanax.
I think it was Xanax, yeah.
Yeah, she takes a Xanax and or Valium or something, and she's just like talking shit to these soldiers, like you're all gonna die, and you know what? I'm okay with that. And the guy literally turns around, and you just see Mailer just like with his dumb face, like gaping open, staring at them.
Honestly, probably not a bad thing to be on in a zombie apocalypse. You're like, whatever.
No, she's hilarious in this because she like runs away and starts floating around and dancing in the stairs while shit is just going down in the fucking.
So
in the
Scribble's
house.
favorite scene is the grocery store. So you like hope, you like the happiness and the lighthearted, because that was that whole scene. But that is a good scene because that's where like the characters really start to like envelop into each other, and you start to really like them and like see what they're becoming and all that.
Like
and then you start to feel for them.
You need something like that, though. That's the thing. You can't just have it. Like I know there's a lot of movies. Like
I like the tunnel scene. That's probably my favorite scene.
Yeah, like it. Otherwise, you end up with something like Crossed, where just nothing good happens, and then you kind of just get drained by the end of this. And Cross has zero hope. You do not win in this one. In this one, they actually give you some hope, especially at the very end, because like Dylan was saying before. There's 3 separate endings to this.
It would be very sick to have a grocery store to yourself. I agree.
Michael Jackson apparently used to do that back in the day. To feel like normal people, he just like rent out a grocery store and just walk around.
Oh my god!
And he would have
that is so sad.
And he would have his bodyguards and like people that were like on his whatever walk around and pretend to be customers, so he could just like
wow, that is
be a regular person.
Incredibly sad.
I know, imagine that like. You've never been grocery shopping before? You like want to do that?
What's your call? Oh yeah, and then fucking Hannah like hits Jim because he thinks he's eating Selena, but they're just making out.
It's actually funny.
And he goes, "What the fuck? I was kissing. What are you, stoned? Don't ask that right now. We just gotta get out of here."
I like the very little bits of like hilarity. He was like, "Oh, that's actually really."
Once again, they need little moments like that, but they don't overdo it. Like if it was like a Joss Whedon thing or something, where it's a joke like every 10 minutes. But yeah, I mean, the ending of this also gives you a lot of hope because they all make it. And it's just kind of showing them like surviving out in the country. And then also that, the NATO forces or someone is coming in with fighter jets, just kind of observe and see if the coast is clear yet. and then they make a giant sign saying like "help" or "we're here" or something.
Hello. Get it right. It's literally the trope of the movie.
It's not the whole trope. It's not.
It literally is.
No,
The whole movie's hello.
All right, count up how many hellos there are.
Bro, when he walks into the burger place,
I'm not denying it, but count it.
The ending, the beginning.
I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do a watch through this one day, and we're gonna do a drinking game. Every time that someone says hello in this, we're taking a shot of something.
Anyway, are we done with this? Why are you making so much noise with that? Jesus fucking! You can't even drink right.
Oh God!
You can't even fucking drink right. God.
Oh yeah. All right, and now we're gonna get into the comics. That's all you're doing.
Why would we do that?
Because doesn't that take
You wrote
place
28
right?
weeks.
Oh no, that's because I couldn't fit it on there. So
So
comics.
Why do you have that?
That's 28 years later because it didn't fit.
So you could have just done it there because you still have a whole half board over there.
Yeah, but I wasn't gonna use that board.
Wrote
I
that
wasn't
out
gonna use
better.
that board because I thought I was gonna fit it in here, but it turns out I couldn't fit it. So then I went on to the other board.
So you should just redone it at that point.
Well, at this point, you could talk
You're
about
stalling.
the comic, or
You're
shut
trying
the
to
fuck up.
avoid talking about the comic.
So
I know he's stalling. He's stalling.
In comics, you got it right here.
We're gonna open these later too.
Which he
You got
totally
this
read.
Big boy.
He totally
right
read
here.
that.
I actually did read not all of it. I still need to
I
finish
believe
it,
you.
but I read about 3/4 of it, and then I sat at home on YouTube and watched someone read me the comic for 2
You watch someone read it to you.
hours. And
I
10
think I know
minutes.
which video you're
Yeah,
talking
because
about.
he
too.
had so much more enthusiasm and was like adding his own like, this is what this scene is. He didn't just read the kind of like, this is like this scene. Like he
Yeah, I think I
told
know
it
it.
like a story.
This guy, I think, also does
It's
a
pretty
bunch
good.
of the cross comics too.
He did a cool job with it. Anyway, so the comic I read takes place in between 28 days later and 28 weeks later, and I believe kind of trails into 28 weeks later a little bit. But it's essentially, it picks up with Selena living in this refuge camp. I think she's in like Norway. And this American journalist comes up to her and is essentially like, you could, excuse me, you could pretty much get me through like London and give me a tour of what I need. So I want to bring you in because I want to figure out what's like going on. He's like, I need to know. He's like, there's more than the story.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted to go in and figure it out. So they put like this whole team together. I'm just gonna go through it real quick because there's a lot, but like I think it was like 5. They had like 5 or 6 people together in the team, maybe not even that many. And they try and go in, and then they had to land their helicopter because I don't know, like the areas, but one area got like infected.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I was listening to part of the same thing you were listening to. They got
5 in the helicopter pilot. Thank you.
and they had to get taken down because the airspace they were like infringing on it, and a fighter jet flew by them, and then they got told they have to get the fuck out of the airspace, and then they had to force to land. But now they're stuck there because if they go back up, they're gonna get shot down.
Yeah.
So now they're stuck at this place, and now they have to figure out how to navigate through
That's kind of dumb because
infected territory.
the infected can't fly.
No, but they don't care.
No, but the government.
I know, which is dumb.
That's what I want to talk about, like the shit that 28 years did, because it makes all this make sense.
What you call it? Because
There's a literal website right now that you could go to, and it's like, I just have to talk about it because it's fucking awesome. The rest of the world fucking continued. Like everything is normal. Like they even have like who was president in 2011 and this. Like there's a whole fucking thing of data that they're like trying to like leak, and like they have blockades showing and like areas you can get into. And then yes, we all know France got invaded, but I don't know if they're going to talk about it. But they pushed the infection out of Europe, and it is only still in the UK.
that was
And all that is like safe now.
that's one of the rumors that I heard about the 28 years later coming out is that it is still only England
It's not a rumor. There's a website with leaked data from like how, remember the Independence Day movie Resurgence, and they had like a website with alien information or whatever that was like leaked movie info, not like movie info, but like the lore for the movie. they have that. They have like journal entries, data logs, soldiers who left messages, and like other people trying to like.
And this is all going to
communicate.
be in 28 years later.
I don't know if it's in it. That's why I'm like telling people they should check it out, because it's all shit that will add to it that might not be explained in the movie, that might just be in the movie.
It kind of bugs me a little bit, just because it's like it's almost kind of like Alien Covenant, or not? No, it was a. No,
I mean, that's how it is with the
no,
virus.
yeah, no, Alien Covenant, where it's
You
like,
don't know shit about the virus.
No,
in the
I'm just saying.
movies.
I'm saying in the just for production level and stuff. I'm just like, I shouldn't have to do homework to understand your movie coming up.
You should though.
You know what I mean? Like it should.
I
That is an example of show me, don't fucking tell me. Like that is the bad version of that.
So it's called Rage Leaks. Thank you, Scribbles. But I love it, and I think it's amazing, and it's really cool. And I think you guys should look at it before you actually watch the movie.
Nah, because then I feel like it's just gonna spoil a bunch of stuff.
I don't think it is. I think it's going to help create the lore.
But that's the thing. If the movie doesn't back up the lore, like I would rather watch the movie and then read that after and go, okay, that's kind of cool.
Want everything. I want it.
Yeah, you're not the type that. Do you like spoilers? Or do you care about spoilers?
I don't want spoilers.
But then how do you know that it's not the information you just took in doesn't spoil what's going to happen in the movie? Because they don't really make it like known in the movie trailer that it's only isolated to England.
I mean, I feel like in 28. Oh, true, because
you know what I mean. But either way, so in the comics, so what you're saying is it's what you call it, Selina's journey into this, back into the infected zone with these people.
Yes,
and this actually comes up before. This pisses me off, where I was mentioning that scene where these two people flag down these other people they just see walking around, and they just beeline towards them.
Yeah.
But
that's because none of these people experienced it.
No,
it's just Selena.
But here's the thing. With Jim, he has an excuse. That motherfucker was fucked up in a coma and he's fucking hazy. He doesn't know any better. These people are aware there's an infection. They're aware that there's something fucked up happening on this island.
I think Clint, the main one, was already dealing with it. Like, he went to France, I think, or something, and saw like an initial outbreak. I gotta reread it all, but I'm pretty sure like he dealt with it a little bit and like wanted to go back into like where it initially started.
And also, if you're like a journalist, I assume that he usually goes to hot zones just to find like stories and stuff,
I think
like war zones.
talk about like his back.
So why the fuck are you flagging down people?
Because he wasn't the one that did it.
It doesn't matter. The team that you have should know better. You're going into a hostile territory. I'm not gonna bring like a friend that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing into a fucking war zone. I'll bring you. I'm not going to bring like Kelly or something.
Oh my God. She would just be a distraction.
Anyway, so
go over there and make a lot of noise.
Anyway, so
up until what you read, like what information did you get from it?
What do you mean?
Like, how does that add to does it add any lore, or is there any callbacks to the other movies?
More the lore I feel like is in the other comic, because they go into why they were making the virus, how it was kind of like created, and then like a lot of the aftermath of it and some of the people trying to escape. This is still some lore. Like, they talk about it. I think, there's actually a lot. So I don't know if this is going to stay canon. I don't know if it is like officially canon either.
These comics?
But Jim is like in the process of being executed in the comics. And Styles is trying to hunt down Selena because Doctor Who was his commanding.
Oh.
And okay. Jim's getting executed for what he did at that place, for killing the soldiers. So like, I don't know, maybe like Bone Temple is him escaping execution. I don't fucking know. Like, even though it's 23 years.
That's a lot of years later.
That's a lot of years later.
That's a lot of years
later. So I'm very interested in what like Cillian Murphy's role will be.
But he's slated
he's not in it. He's not in. Well, he's slated to be in Bone Temple.
Oh, interesting.
In January. So we're not seeing him in this movie. He's not in this one, but he is going to be in the part 2.
Right.
Sequel.
So maybe we'll do another cast one day of where we do both books. or both stories for this, just because I am interested to see how they help world build with this. But anyways,
Yeah, the lore, like Scribble said it a lot better. The lore is mostly like it's just them in the dark zone being controlled by like NATO, and there's scientists trying to make different variations of the virus. Oh yeah, I forgot there's like a really fucked up part in the comic. Like they save this kid, and then like the American soldiers like get them, and they're like, all right, well we gotta like test this new strain out. So the best way I could think about doing it is injecting him.
Is that when they tie him down?
Yeah, and they like inject him in front of like everyone else, and they're like, "Let's see what happens." Like,
yeah, I remember that panel.
Yeah,
what you call it? But yeah, I mean, sounds interesting. Should definitely take a look at it.
They're actually like, I know I did like a horrible job breaking them down. I got to like really sit down and like read them more, but I just really haven't had time. But they're like really cool. And they're like well written. They're fun. I feel like they do expand the universe pretty well in like some of the side stories. Okay, that's when they're talking about the capillaries and like how much control the person has over the actual rage itself.
Interesting. But and that plays into like some theories and stuff for years. But now we're getting into 28 weeks later, the sequel to 28 Days Later. This is was this done by Danny Boyle too?
No.
Who did this one?
Not Danny Boyle and not Alex Garland. They were just executive producers on it.
Juan Carlos. And the screenplay, wow, the screenplay actually wasn't by either of them either.
Nope, they only produced.
Which honestly, for that
Still
being
not bad.
No, for that being the case, like for a sequel, that it was pretty damn good. Honestly, right out the gate, one of the most iconic zombie movie intros ever.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's many intros that could be 28 weeks later. That is a fucking amazing start to a movie,
dude. Right out the
with
gate,
one of the best like horror soundtracks ever too. Like
Yes.
In a House in a Heartbeat is so fucking amazing.
Yeah, I usually get like annoyed when a horror franchise keeps using like a certain theme. Like the Saw theme got really annoying to me after a while. But oh, really, I have to fucking log into this now. But
We don't need it on this.
all right, it's fine. Whatever. But yeah, no, that soundtrack for the iconic soundtrack for 28 Days Later, it really sets up the atmosphere. And once again, the fact they brought it back a little bit more updated, with this intro. If you ever seen the Boondocks, they spoof it, and it's almost it's fucking funny. But they do a really good job like taking that, and you can tell that right out the gate also that they have a bigger budget for this. Because I believe the last one was $8 million. This one was $15 million.
Okay, yeah.
It
also feels like an American movie trying to pretend it's British.
That I can absolutely see. Because I think the movie that I compare this to the most is The Crazies.
Yeah.
Because this is at this point the plot is a father is reunited with his daughter and son after the outbreak. You know, now at this point it's been
Hawkeye and cheap.
Yeah.
Wait, this is the first movie I ever saw Jeremy Renner in.
Yeah, I think also me too, to be honest. Because this is obviously pre-Avengers.
Sick. I really enjoyed his character.
Oh yeah, no, he was great. Because he plays military guys very well. I'm wondering if this was around the same time, and probably
I feel
after.
like this might have got him Hurt Locker.
Yeah, I could see that, and he was amazing in Hurt Locker, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, once again, great intro to this. The father and his kids are reunited. They're kind of showing what life is like in London after it's been occupied by NATO forces, after they cleared out whatever infected they could, and just trying to rebuild England under NATO control. But then obviously, this is where
they introduce an evolution in the virus.
Yes.
I don't know if it was like an evolution or if it, there was just from the start, but regardless, there are asymptomatic people. There are people who will carry it, but they will not induce in the rage. But if they get any of their saliva, blood, or fluids, you're fucked.
They're carried. And that's what I love about it. They evolved the virus just enough to make the story work. And it's not anything extreme. It's not like these people have superpowers now or anything. No. Now, and this is a thing that happens in biology.
You don't even see, like, if there's anything else to it. Like, you just know that she's carrying it.
And that she has a specific gene that's resistant to it.
But you don't even know if she's, like, fully, because she's, like, off. I don't know.
Well,
but that's from surviving and PTSD and all that, most likely.
Probably hasn't seen an actual human face.
But I just mean, it's like, it's just interesting to see, like, what are these people going? What are asymptomatic people
we're going to get into this 28 years later because there's a lot to discuss with that. But we'll get through this really quickly because I do want to get to 28 years later discussion because this movie, as it's
fuck! Well, you were right, Scribbles. Jeremy Renner was in SWAT.
Oh God, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think he was the villain. He was the one who like was the
This is the one with Samuel L. Jackson,
right? Yeah.
Oh, was that all Cool J in that too?
Yes, and what's her name from Resident Evil? And
he's the bad guy. He like started out on the SWAT team though, right? And then like he fucking like shot through the hostage to get the bad guy or whatever, and they like kicked him off the team. And then that was like his villain arc or some shit. I don't know. I have not seen that movie in so long. I feel like
anyone needs to see that movie.
That's what I remember.
You don't need to see it.
But yeah, dude.
That's exactly. Yeah.
All I remember is Jeremy Renner does not get hit by a train.
I killed a kid. but yeah, like I said, there's not much to this movie other than really the set pieces, and it's the survivors once the outbreak breaks out again, because when they bring the mother in, the father, having access to everything, because he's like the janitor, the super of the building, goes to see his wife, does what any husband would do after abandoning her to get eaten alive, apologizes, then kisses her, and after he kisses her, he turns because he does not have the resistance gene. And she gets it bad after that.
He like just punches her in the face,
gouges her
eyes out, like bites her throat, like he fucking mutilates her.
And then at this
point, the whole time she's strapped down.
Yeah, and the whole she can't do shit. And then this pretty much is just the survivors now have to deal with this new outbreak, but on top of the outbreak, they have to deal with the government quarantining everyone. Basically, literally the crazies where no one can survive. We have to kill everyone now and start over because we fucked up. So, like at this point now, I think the cast or the group of survivors are the two kids, a doctor that
Scarlet.
Is that her name? The doctor?
Yeah, Scarlet.
That she figures out that the mother is resistant to this somehow. She's convinced that a vaccine can be made, so she wants to keep the kids alive just in case they have that gene. And then Jeremy Renner's character, and then a couple other survivors too, but I'm pretty sure they get picked off pretty easily. I'm like, you guys, I don't know your actor names. I haven't seen you in other movies, so you guys are probably gone.
Oh, you guys are toast.
Yeah, and then also, what you call it, the helicopter pilot.
What do you call them?
I forget.
The red shirts.
Red shirts. Star Trek red shirts.
I forget the helicopter pilot's actual name, but he was Michael in Lost, and if
he's in the Matrix
familiar with he's the sheriff in From, which, by the way, if you're not familiar with From, watch that fucking TV
He's
show.
A great actor. Shit, he was in Romeo and Juliet too.
I was like, you're talking about Commander, what's his name?
Yes.
Yeah, he was the new pilot for the ship.
He said at the same time.
What?
The helicopter pilot.
And
then Idris Elba's in it. He plays the American sergeant, even though he's British. It's so bad for the man.
Wait, I can't even play a British soldier? No, you're American, Idris. You're going to only do American roles.
We are paying you a lot.
And you know what? Now you're going in the Ghost Rider sequel. Get over there.
Oh my God.
He wasn't the Ghost Rider sequel.
He's like, why? What did I do?
Dude, that movie's ridiculous. I want to do a review of that with Carl one day.
I didn't even
check out our other lives with Carl.
Is that the one with
From had a brutal intro. That was a great first episode, and I think that's what made me stick with it. Yeah.
What is that on?
It's on, I think,
is it
MGM.
Apple?
No, it's MGM, I think.
Okay. I see. That's what I hate. These like random.
Dude, just wait
services. Or I'll
for the new season. Wait for the new season to come out. Do a 7-day trial. Binge all that shit and be done with it.
All right.
That's
fair. That's fair. But I'll definitely check that out. Once again, great actor, but there's not a lot to this film, I would say, compared to the last one. you get the little bit of world building, but it's really just a survival movie at this
It's
point.
kind of
And
boring. I'm not gonna lie. This movie, it kind of drags. It's shorter and it feels longer.
which is weird because there is a lot more action in this.
There is.
And not only that, like they do take some like interesting like camera shots and stuff. Like they do a lot of interesting things with the camera work. Like one of my favorite scenes. We're just gonna get through this as quick as we can. One of my favorite scenes is the scene where they're in the tunnel and they're looking through the night vision.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a little like found footage in there.
Yeah, kind of like that. Like what like the people in Cloverfield when they're in the subway.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. And I thought that was cool because also one of the kills you see in that way, where the perspective of the rifle night vision, and it looks really fucking cool. And since we're gonna get into 28 years later, because I mean, once again, not a lot happens in this film, other than trying to get from
And I
point
think
A
we
to
could
the extraction
all
point.
simultaneously say what our favorite scene is. I think that's a given.
What is
It's
this?
the fucking opening.
Yes.
What do you see?
I don't know. Maybe you like the part where he mows down the infected with the helicopter, even though that was goofy as shit.
Yeah, it was a fucking cool scene,
But it was
but
goofy.
we all know that that's not going to work.
No.
No,
Something horrible will happen.
no.
They
the
actually-
helicopter players would just get destroyed after the first two people.
Not only that, they mentioned this in the World War Z book where someone tries to do that, but they do it in a city and it hits one car and the thing turns into a fireball of death that takes out half a fucking platoon. Because he's like, all right, I'm leading it. He starts cutting people down. Then he catches the car and then pff, everything goes to shit. Which even if you're in an open field like this guy, you're gonna hit a stump, a tree, a rock,
The ground.
itself.
Like,
It's a cool scene, but a lot of this, once you get Dylan put it perfectly. This is an American movie trying to be that indie English movie, and it's
Mark
just not
Hamill
working.
does that part in the audiobook.
Yes, he does. I'm telling you, one day we have to do the audiobook.
The audiobook you showed me sounded like ass, so
because it was on YouTube.
But Scribbles told me there's a good audiobook.
It's because the one I showed you was on YouTube.
It's like, I
So
trust
I'm gonna
this.
find this guy's. I don't trust yours.
Fuck you. It's on Audible, bitch. It's the same shit. But what you call it? Then download Audible. We're doing it though, because that fucking audiobook is phenomenal.
Audible sponsor us.
Phenomenal. I mean, it's not like Tubi's gonna sponsor us.
Fuck Tubi. You know, we should just start egregiously like beefing with Tubi.
Yo, Tubi, your commercials fucking suck. I don't need erectile dysfunction medication and menopause
And
medication
they're
at
very
the same time.
poorly timed.
Also, you hard cut from one of the most tense scenes in movies all the time to these commercials.
Yeah, they cut like in the middle of like Neo doing the bullet dodge.
Oh my god, we were just watching that the other night. But what you
I
call
could
it?
see them doing that.
But yeah, for this too, I do like the casting and the characters. Once again, Jeremy Renner's good. The guy that plays the dad, who's also in Trainspotting, he plays Begbie. And he's in a few other British films too, which I enjoy.
I think overall the casting for all these movies is
Pretty good.
Like I don't know what to say about 28 Years, but it's like when I see the character like in their roles, I'm sure it's gonna be great. I don't know.
The casting for 28 Years Later looks awesome. Anyways.
I like what is his name? Aaron
Taylor Johnson or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy that
Yes.
plays fucking Voldemort as the crazy doctor in
Yeah.
the Bone Temple.
Yup.
But yeah, in this one, like I said, the casting this was good. The acting was functional. Like there wasn't anyone that was doing really bad acting. I think the girl had a little trouble with the acting, but that's just because there's a lot of women in acting, or even men too, that have model face.
Who do you think the worst actor is in the whole series so far?
So far,
I want to see if we all have the same answer.
the worst actor.
I don't really
Actor,
have,
actress, let's be fair.
I don't really have one.
Honestly, the girl and the kid that I mentioned,
Hannah. I think Hannah's the worst.
I think they just have
I think
she's not
Hannah
bad.
just doesn't know how to act.
Also, I mean, she could also
Yes.
just be playing very monotone.
Child.
She could also be playing.
There's a
very-
lot of good children actors.
No.
And she's not
Well,
one
this
of
is
them.
also still the early 2000s. We are spoiled now with all the good children
I was going to
actors
say,
that
we
have
got
come
spoiled
through.
with Macaulay Culkin,
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin wasn't even the best actor either.
No, but he was
He got better when he was
He
older.
was hilarious in Uncle Buck.
But once again, like, I think the kid actors were actually they were the weakest ones because even in the second movie, the son
The guy in the blue shirt with them in weeks. Oh, was he the guy that was holding on to the helicopter? That guy?
Yes, I think that's
right?
the guy.
He was the guy wearing the blue shirt.
Yeah,
who
I don't
wouldn't
count him
fucking-
because he's basically
You know
an
what?
extra.
He does suck because he made a little kid run out there and take shots because he wouldn't fucking do it.
Oh, well, as a character, yes, he's a piece of shit. As an actor,
He's like, no, as an actor, I know his home address.
as an actor, no. I mean, also, I don't really count those. It's just they were basically just glorified extras because they were going to get taken out anyways.
I mean, if it wasn't for him, that kid would be dead.
You know who's worse than him?
Good point.
Gennaro from Jurassic Park. The guy who leaves the kids in the car, just runs away like a piece of shit.
Into the bathroom.
Yeah, you're just like,
and then
you
dies
suck.
right after. Just like this guy, he just dies immediately.
Yeah,
after.
but like, and he was already being a piece of shit. Like, you know, you charge like $6,000 a day, well, a coupon day or whatever.
A coupon.
And like, he was like being an asshole the entire movie. Sees the dinosaurs, like, we're gonna be rich. Fuck all these people. Only mega wealthy, and then he just is just indicative of his character. Runs away, literally before any bad
Yeah,
shit.
like,
happens.
even
Why would you go into a bathroom? A hut.
I'll even say this too, because if we're talking about this guy too, I didn't get a lot of background with him. You don't get a lot of character development in this movie.
Blue shirt guy.
Yeah,
He just sucks.
there's not a lot of character. You don't feel so attached to everyone. It does suck when certain people die.
Like Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner, even Scarlett, the way she dies, I felt bad for him, but I wasn't not like when Frank died. You know what I mean? Like that one was visceral. Like I'm like, fuck. Like I got to know this guy.
Frank
You
was
don't-
upsetting.
Yeah, you don't really get to know these characters too much, other than their base characters. Are like, oh, that's the scientist, that's the soldier. These are the kids they have to protect. Okay, point A to point B. Like,
You know what's funny though? And they always have like one person that really sucks in these movies. Like in Day of the Dead, what's his name from Modern Family? The asshole.
oh yeah.
Who's banging that chick and is like, oh, I'm gonna just go on my fucking boat.
There is I feel like maybe Blue Shirt Guy was that guy for this movie.
Dude, he
And I
was
just don't
hilarious.
remember.
I do also love that it was kind of funny. He's like, yeah, if I ever try to run those things, feel free to blow my fucking head off.
And he does.
He's like, no, I will. I will just shoot you in the fucking head. You know, it's fucked up when you got Ving Rhames being like, damn.
That's fucked up.
He also was just
He
like,
should have been in this movie.
it's hilarious how he went from fuck y'all to like, all right, I'm staying.
Well, that's a testament to that movie too. He actually has an arc.
Yeah.
He
But
has an arc.
He was hilarious though. He's like, I'm not staying here.
And this one, no one really has an arc. Like they're just kind of going through it.
It's survival. It's a survival.
It's just straight survival. But even like the first one did such a better job with it. Look, this isn't a bad sequel, but it's definitely nowhere near as good as the first
you
one.
could look at it like, sorry, the reverse. I don't know, like Aliens. How it's like the second one kind of expands upon the first one.
Yeah,
but this is a little bit more spread out, and you get to see more, infected
You mean
in the scenes.
Yeah.
Because before it was like you said, you don't see more than 7.
Yeah, no,
And
they
then
had
this
more
one is
budget
like-
this time.
All right, there's way more like.
Well, I feel like it's you're kind of like traditional horror trope. Like you have your first movie that's good, and the second movie's got to up the kills, got to like up the
Action, up the intensity. Even though, once again, it just kind of lacklusterly carries on because number one, you can't just start off the movie with that crazy opening and then just kind of be lackluster the rest of the movie.
Well, at least it didn't pull a ghost ship.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not terrible. Like I said, this sequel is not bad. We have criticisms of it, but it's not a bad sequel. Like I'll put it on if it's fucking. We just watched it the other night before we, and I enjoyed it. The action was cool. Certain kill scenes were cool. I think once again my favorite scene is probably when the lady gets taken out in the tunnel in the night vision thing. But yeah, other than that, the only thing that really builds upon what's about to come with 28 years later is the very end where you realize that the son is the one with the immunity or it becomes a carrier, because one of the indications is that they show is that if you have 2 discolored eyes or discoloration in the eyes, that it's supposed to be a signal that you have some kind of immunity to this. But since we coming to the end of this, going back into our conversation about the virus and evolving and stuff like that.
They've already shown signs
at
of
this
evolution.
At this point, you're right.
No,
because,
in 28 years later trailer.
well, no, I don't mean but I'm talking about just for right now. It's from 28 days to weeks. Weeks, we get introduced to Don, which is the dad of the kids. When he turns, he is not like the other ones. He is clearly more intelligent, and he's stalking this group. It's not like
stalking his children.
he's stalking his children. There's some recognition there, and not only that, he's able, like most of the infected will just start clawing at you. And he actually picked up a weapon and started beating this woman to death. And not only, and like once again, he's stalking his kids and he's hiding. And not only that, he's almost kind of leading some of the infected to these people. And so you see a little spark of intelligence start coming up. And one of the things I was when I was doing a little research on this was that a virus needs time to incubate in order to morph into something else. So what could be surmised is that when the wife got infected, the thing was incubating in her and evolving inside her. And then when it passed on to Don, that was that new form of the virus that made him slightly more, aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
And even the other infected too were following Don half the time. So it's kind of evolved into this other thing. But now the son, because at the very end, Don does get the son, but the son doesn't get infected. He's a carrier now. And then they insinuate at the very end that the helicopter crashes in Paris. And then from there, the infection spread. So this virus is not only incubating within this kid, but it's also, he's spreading it to other people unknowingly, probably, for the initial.
I don't know why I never thought about it crashing until you just brought it up.
Because
I just assumed they landed, went right to the hospital, and some shit went down right there. But I guarantee you, she kissed him in the fucking helicopter or some shit.
Yeah, something happened where it spread, and then the helicopter goes down. And one of the theories I saw was that the carrier survived.
Oh, I missed that. All right, they do say it crashes in the comic.
And the kid survives, goes out into the world, tries to get help, spreads the virus in Paris somewhere. Maybe that's when they push the virus back once it outbreaks in Paris. But at that point, the virus is incubated in another host and then probably passed on to the other people where it could possibly evolve again. And now, getting into 28 years later with this. Do you get the general plot outline of this yet? Other than, I assume these guys are going out into the mainland to get supplies for their little colony that they have on.
I think it's more of a coming to right story.
What they have to go out. And
I think he's bringing this kid out to go learn how to deal with infected and how to kill them and how to fucking take care of his people. Mm-hmm. So he's going out to just learn and become a better functioning person of this community on the island.
So one of the theories that I've been reading was that they do show in the beginning of the trailer.
Okay, the kid's mom is sick and he's trying to find a doctor to help her.
And that in the beginning you see in the trailer where there's a family hiding out in a house and the kids are all watching TV or whatever. And then they bring another kid into the house. They're saying that one of those kids might have been a carrier. This is all speculatory, by the way. One of the kids that were in there was a carrier and witnessed the entire group, his whole family in the house, everyone get killed, and he manages to get away. Or he gets bit and he doesn't turn. And then this is supposed to take place in a time lapse where this is at the beginning of the initial outbreak in Europe, or it spread back into London or whatever. And 28 years later, they're saying that maybe this kid who has grown up with the virus, not only getting chased by infected, also getting shunned by people when they realize that he's the one that's spreading the virus, that he kind of develops by himself with the infected, and that the virus just keeps incubating inside of him. And not only that, you know how the apes in the beginning, they just get conditioned to the violence while they have the virus. So he's witnessing all of this stuff firsthand. Instead of watching TV, he's actually witnessing people getting killed. So the virus is just building more and more inside of him. So it's possible. One of the theories is that, in the trailer where you see that one long-haired infected always in the background, alpha, he might be the alpha, where he eventually learns the virus took over more and he's able to actually talk or control any other infected and possibly creating more infected because these are the only people that he can hang around. That's one theory I've been reading, which actually sounds really cool. And the whole idea that the virus is evolving, it's incubating, it's doing other things. And it's logical because these carriers that don't spread the disease, it's just going to keep developing inside of them. And then when it eventually spreads to something else, that's an entirely new strain. And then you said in the comic that they're trying to weaponize this too, or they were trying to weaponize it. So it's possible that maybe they were trying to weaponize some new strain and it broke out again and they couldn't control it this time. And the zombies are more intelligent, or they figured out a way to sustain themselves without dehydrating or going hungry.
I mean, Scribbles, you can drop whatever you want. Let the world know. He's got like his ideas and theories from everything he's like
go
strapped
for it, man.
together.
It's all
Drop whatever
speculatory.
you want. Yeah.
It's all speculatory. I mean, that was my big thing where I'm just like, that's a cool idea because the biggest question is if the virus still operates like it did in 28 days and 28 weeks later, and they could just starve them out, how are they still alive? Especially if, let's say, they are still isolated to England. How are they still living? How are they still able to?
Well,
You know?
see that some of them, because they show like that one fucking
The guy, is it the one that everyone thinks is
infected.
Jim?
That's no. Stop the Jim.
I'm not saying it is Jim. I'm saying everyone,
That was
everyone
like
thinks it's
a
Jim.
rumor from like 8 months ago.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying that,
Fucking-
but it looks like Jim.
It's not.
It does look like
It does look like Jim.
Just because
It's
a
Jim.
man's skinny doesn't make it Jim.
No,
No,
it's his
same-
facial features. You
yeah.
racist.
No,
and
you're all wrong. Anyway,
I didn't say it was Jim. I said the one that looks like Jim.
Anyway,
That's the emaciated one.
it's long gone,
Jim.
long dead theory.
It's Jim.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Totally Jim.
It's not. The guy who's the actor actually like came out like a day later. It was like, no, it's
Oh
me.
yeah,
This is how I look.
just like fucking Josh Brolin kept saying, "I'm not Thanos. I'm not Thanos. I'm not Thanos." And then guess what? He's Thanos.
Anyway, no, the fucking infected that just crawls around the floor and looks like the fucking weird hut monster from Dune.
The hut monster.
No, but there's like this weird infected that just like lurks like on the ground and like just doesn't waste energy and isn't like aggressive moving, but like it looked fucked up. Like his skin's all like fucking
What you
emaciated
call
and
it?
everything.
But yeah, like I don't know. I'm interested to see how they make it make sense. How they make it so that the virus does last this long and it doesn't come off stupid. This is the one thing, and I know Dylan probably has like no doubts about this movie, but like.
No, I don't. Like everyone's like, oh, well, what if it, like, why are you going so many times in one day? Like, what if it's bad? I was like, how about you just shut the fuck up? Like that's my response to anyone who says.
I'm not
like,
saying.
what if
Well,
it's
here's the thing.
bad?
It's feasible that there could be some issues because look, especially with franchises that come back after such a long time, especially from such celebrated franchises, sometimes they could fuck up. Especially if they still bring back the old people that were in charge. Like, this is Alex Garland and Danny Boyle. I have a lot of faith in both of these guys. And if the studio allows them to do whatever the fuck they want to do, I have a lot of faith. Alex Garland has proven himself time and time again to be an awesome writer and an awesome director. Civil War was amazing. Dread was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle, Train Spotting. What was it? Was it Sunshine? He did that too, right? Where they go to space to try and restart the sun.
The beach.
The beach. He did the fucking beach. These guys know how to make fucking good atmospheric movies. And the trailer that they slapped together, one of the best fucking trailers I've seen for an upcoming movie to date. Like that what you call it, that song that they put on there, the Boots.
It's a poem from like 1900s. It's a war poem.
Yeah, dude, the way they cut that shit together, number one, it makes the movie seem scary. You don't know what's happening. You still see like a lot of action, and I'm pretty sure these aren't all the money shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not only that, the cast looks awesome. There's a few unknowns, but just the fact Aaron Taylor Johnson, the guy that plays Voldemort, and there was a couple other there that I saw too. And you get this whole like kind of like sensory overload where you see infected, you see the infected are acting different. You see this whole kind of Last of Us feel where there's enclosures and compounds. You see the bone temple, like you're like, what the fuck is that? What does that even do? And then not only that, the what you call it, fuck, the guy that was hanging like from his feet,
Yeah.
And they were showing this the whole time. Like there's this a name that keeps Jimmy that keeps coming.
Oh,
up.
there's already like
There's like theories
talk
that.
about who the main villain is and like a photo of him, I think already.
Like one of the other things I heard that would actually be kind of cool that would make sense here is this weird kind of cult thing that might pop up.
Yeah, I've seen the Colt. Well, they're in the trailer.
The mass and stuff. Well, yeah, but they're saying that going back to that theory that I had about someone that's resistant, it could be a group of people that are resistant to the infection that infect other people just to make sure that, oh, okay, you can join us, you can be with us, and you're strong enough to be in this new world order that we're trying to create. And that's also why there's so many infected still happening, because they just are infecting people and checking to see if they're immune to this. And then obviously just wiping out anyone that doesn't go along with what they want to do. There's a lot of stuff that they're throwing at you with this movie. And one of my doubts is that when you put that much stuff in a movie, if you don't do it in the right way, it's going to come out you're doing too much in too little time. And the fact that you're trying to start a whole nother franchise, a whole nother trilogy, that is also a little bit of a red flag to me. Because unless they better have this shit planned out. Like, don't say there's 3 movies coming up, but we only have the first one. We haven't figured out the other 2 yet.
They already have 2 figured out.
Are they all figured out? Like
the second one's literally coming out in January.
There's a whole line
it's already done.
And it's done by the same guys.
The one who... God, you don't know any of this?
I'm not, dude. I'm going into this fresh still.
Directing.
Like, I want to be surprised by this a little bit.
The chick who's directing, or the person directing the second one, is the person who did the new Candyman, I think.
That's not bad. The new Candyman wasn't bad. I liked it.
But no, it's not all him.
So it's one, but
and the third movie they don't have the money for yet. But they're gonna have the money just because of me. Like, I'm literally gonna see this movie. So
that's a red flag to me. But the fact that they
filmed 2 full movies.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that they already have
there's no red flag.
There is a red flag here, Dylan. Especially if there's a studio involvement. It's fine to have doubts about these movies, Dylan. Especially once again,
Daniel Gordon Green's Halloween.
Okay, because the first movie came out.
Shut your blasphemous mouth.
The first movie came out all right, and then the last 2. Wait, are we talking about not the Rob Zombie ones, right? The newer ones that came out.
I literally said Daniel Gordon.
I thought that was the other guy. What's his name? Danny McBride.
No,
you're all over the place tonight. That's Alien.
No.
Covenant.
I'm talking about writing of Halloween.
Oh, he was in that. Yeah, but I'm talking about the director.
I'm just saying.
What is happening right now?
Dude, you come back from a franchise that had taken a break this long, there's going to be some issues.
Alex Garland went into directing and wasn't doing this, and like whatever other.
There was a whole other thing also where these people were going to work together either. Didn't Danny Boyle say he was going to work with Alex Garland for a while? Like, wasn't there a whole lapse or like a little bit of a falling out between them?
Because like it doesn't look like that's the case.
Otherwise, wouldn't they have gotten together for 28 months at some point? That was a whole thing where they were trying to get 28 months off the ground.
I don't care about these things.
Oh, but you care about all the other shit. The shit that's spoiling stuff and the shit that could possibly.
It's not spoilers.
Yeah, it is. It's not lore building because you have to do fucking homework. You have to do fucking homework before the movie. Fuck that shit. If the movie doesn't spell it out for me right then and there, and then the other thing doesn't attribute to it, then what's the point?
We just spent like a whole fucking podcast praising this whole thing, and now we're gonna call it ass because they have outside.
No one said it's gonna be ass. I'm saying these are red flags that could possibly make this new trilogy
You're just
ass.
lazy.
No,
what do you think the comics are?
Lazy? What do you mean
the comics are?
That's supplementary.
That's
supplementary material, and that's possibly not even fucking canon. Most of these comics are not fucking canon. There's a fucking Jason versus Leatherface comic. Is that canon to the Chainsaw Massacre or the Friday the 13th thing? No, it's not. It's another extra supplemental thing. They just took the story and did something else with it. Same thing with Godzilla thing. Same thing with Alien stuff. Same thing with Predator stuff. That stuff might not even be canon.
You contradicted yourself twice.
How, Dylan?
Because
that's all supplementary. If that's canon, is that canon? Like
we don't know, but
we don't know. So you don't know.
We're basing all of the theories that they put into the comics off of that, but then saying we don't know if it's lore.
It's not lore. We don't know if it's lore.
Like with the whole development of the virus.
I said it's cool that they have this stuff going on, but you didn't even say that that's fully canon. If that's not fully canon, then guess what? When the movie comes out, then that's a moot point.
All Alien and Predator content is canon. They've said, fucking Alien vs. Predator is garbage.
Alien vs. Predator is a canon though. It occurs outside the timeline.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it ruins the entire timeline. Bone Temple is part 2. The lady who did the Marvels did 2. Yeah, first 2 movies are tough.
The point I'm making, Dylan, is that there are reasonable doubts to have for this film. It's not like I'm not excited for this. It's not like I'm going to say right out the gate, or I'm going to go into this movie, this is going to fucking suck. I'm saying that I have reasonable. No, not even fucking that. No, because once again, if the movie doesn't spell out for me all this extra shit that I have to do research for, then it's not a good movie. Same thing with Alien Covenant. If I have to watch the fucking vignettes before when James Franco's alive, before the ship crashes or whatever the fuck in the movie, that's stupid.
I just think
why the fuck am I gonna wait? No.
That's what all the fucking like nerds
put it. That is an example of the opposite of the first movie in this franchise. Show me. Don't fucking tell me. I don't want to have to read that shit on a fucking website beforehand.
I think it's awesome.
I'm saying
you get to see full-on maps of the world and shit that you would never see because they're not going to show you a fucking map in a movie.
No,
they're not. Sit there and go through. So it's cool to look at.
It's better to have that after the fact.
Like
I shouldn't have to watch that first in order to enjoy the movie I'm about to see.
Just like it's cool to get all the Star Wars books and learn about what the guns did and all that shit.
And all the Star Wars stuff is not even canon either. Those novels aren't canon.
There's a lot of that are.
No, because then there's a certain part.
I'm also not talking about those. I'm talking about the literal books that are encyclopedias of the weapons
that came out after the movie.
Those are awesome.
Because the movie,
they are awesome because it helps build the lore. I'm not listening to screaming,
fuck
man.
You, man. Because look, the movie's awesome, and then that shit comes out afterwards. You're like, okay, cool, they added to this.
No.
Not the fucking. I mean, let me look at this first,
so
and then see the movie.
I love it. We're at that.
Literally everything
I think
in Star Wars has a name. It's crazy, like everything.
You don't like it though.
I like them when they just did the like.
No, because this motherfucker just because you have to have everything spelled out for you, and the film can't speak for itself. Then fuck that.
Cool.
Then the film is stupid.
It's just
if the film cannot speak for itself, then it's a stupid movie.
Oh my god. Whatever.
And it's so.
So that's what you think. I don't think that. I think it's dope. I think they're building more to it. I think it's awesome.
That's why I love Ark
and other games that do shit like that.
Yeah. So I mean, once again, I'm talking in terms of the film where if it doesn't speak for itself, and I have to have the supplemental material, it's not a good film. And I'm not going to look at that shit until after I see the movie.
Whatever.
So.
And I disagree with your
yeah, and you're fucking dumb as shit too. So.
Dumb as shit. You can't read internet words. That's why you don't want to do.
He's like, I can read. I just don't like reading. Okay.
No, I could read and I could do research on shit, but not if I'm going to go into a movie and I have to do the research before the movie. Fuck that.
Every book after 2016 is canon in Star Wars.
2016.
Every book after 2016 is canon.
Because that's probably when fucking Disney took over.
Probably.
And then, because they took over the comics too. They took over Marvel Comics. There's Star Wars, Marvel
and
Comics.
And
no, Disney.
All the comics and stuff are canon. The AVP movies aren't.
The AVP movies are so stupid.
They are.
Yeah, Disney now owns Predator and Alien, so all that stuff they have in the supplemental material.
What's really stupid though is in Alien vs Predator Requiem, which is by far the worst movie out of all of them. You get one of the most badass predators, Wolf. Dude, Wolf is just feats alone, and how many aliens and things he just destroys single-handedly. He's one of the most badass predators in the worst movie. It sucks.
I mean,
fuck, I forgot what his name was. Scar, the one from AVP, also is, and he's unblooded too. So he's not even a full-fledged predator at that point.
Still within the Fox universe.
And he still did a pretty good fucking job. Like, basically, the other two predators just got fucking, with Celtic and someone else, they just get annihilated super quick. And he destroys aliens in that movie. And, you know, maybe if he had the right weapons and plan, he could have killed the queen. Yeah, no, it's just dumb how you got some of the best predators in the worst movies, though.
Yeah, and those aren't even really canon anymore.
No, they're not.
Disney.
But people, like, I'm in a bunch of Predator and Alien groups and stuff, and a lot of people will always post, like, who's the top out of, like, on-screen Predators, and, like, Wolf is, like, always up in the top. He's just, like, he fucked shit up. And he did it he was basically, like, the, I don't even know what you would call it, like, the wet work guy. And imagine, like, the Predators calling in their wet work guy. Like,
Jesus.
And that's just him. He just goes in and eliminates.
Like the wolf in Pulp Fiction.
But it's just like, yeah, no, he's like, because that's actually one of the only times you see aliens on Earth. And actually, I think it is the only time you see aliens on Earth when they're not crashing into it. And it's more like, hey, we can't let this be a thing. We can't have a planet. No, there was no aliens in that.
Oh, fuck, alien.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. Just technically, they're both aliens, but xenomorph. But yeah, no, I think they were just like, we can't let that happen because then this whole planet's going to be aliens. We're not dealing with that. So he's basically just a kill everything in this radius type agent that they sent out, which is
conquest.
But I'm saying, like, that's insane. Like, they're sending out their hitman basically to annihilate this entire, 10 by 10 mile area that's just going to be dead. Like, everything is dead there. And it just sucks. Coolest Predator, worst movie.
So Scribbles, you could probably tell he probably saw Killers of Killers.
Oh, I did.
I started it and I don't like the art at all, so I'm not going to finish it.
Oh, that's really dumb.
I know. I fell asleep. I watched the first story, and then I think the samurai story started, and I was like, I'm fucking over this.
The ice one?
Whatever the
Nordic one?
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
So just
so
you
just
know,
the artwork, I fucking hate.
Dude, Ursa, the gray-haired woman, she is a bad ass. She fucked shit up that movie.
She's pretty much the goat in that movie.
Yeah, she's the hard as nails. Like,
like Trails Back?
It connects in a way where it actually makes sense. And it's actually really good.
It's an anthology that meets up at the end.
But it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
They make it make sense, and it's not like, that's fucking stupid. You're like, oh, that's actually really fucking smart. Oh, that's crazy. This is going to be insane now. Like, they added a whole new element to it. But no, it's definitely really good, and it's so quick. It's 3 stories. It's literally the Nordic
And
one,
it's only like an hour
the
and a
Japanese one, and then the World War I fighter plane one, which is one of the cool kind of features to it because it's the only one where you've seen not someone with like hand-to-hand weapons or anything. It's a vehicle. It's instead of like just being like a hand-to-hand combat, gun on gun, whatever it is. They're like, he's trying to use the bathroom. It was more like vehicle combat. So in this one, without spoiling, it's World War I fighter pilot shit. So it takes a whole new spin on they're hunting other things besides just people. With weapons.
Yeah. They're just not talking about 28 years later.
No, yeah. I just somehow got into Predator and Alien stuff. I don't even know how we got to there, but yeah.
Lower building.
Oh yeah, but they definitely introduced like a lot of new elements to that. One, you already know. Again, not spoiling anything. There's a whole bunch of new weapons that you're like, damn, that's horrifying. That's horrific, and it's almost like they make a bunch of these weapons that are like super smart, but in the same realm of being super archaic, but also really fucked up. Like they could make laser bombs that like disintegrate you in a second, but they don't. They make something that's fucked up and does some weird shit. They're like, what the fuck? And then it winds up like, just doing some horrible thing that you didn't even think was possible. And it's like kind of cool to see them do that. Again, the vehicle too. The first time you see, instead of just, I think in every other movie, you've only seen a Predator ship uncloak for maybe 2 fucking seconds, not even, recloak and just be out. So you never even get a good chance to even see what they do. They're always just dropping someone off and flying out. Or they don't even fucking drop them off. They just shoot a fucking escape pod basically at Earth. So you don't even see the ships. This time you actually get to see the ship like maneuvering and doing crazy things and firing weapons and all this different stuff. And you get to see a Predator who his mode of like killing is a vehicle. You've never seen that before. Every other guy was just, I have a spear and I have a bunch of other cool shit, but this dude has a fucking spaceship annihilating people. Daisy high. Yeah, lore building.
Daisy. That's an example of good lore building.
You can't have a judgment on it when you haven't even opened the website up.
It doesn't even
existed
No. Here's the argument. Here's the argument.
I'm just gonna say, you're gonna talk shit on it, but you haven't even looked at it.
No, here's the fucking argument.
You said it 12 times. I know what your argument is.
What is it? What is the argument?
If you gotta add to the story
but what was the point of that? What is the point of that?
It's not a good story.
What is the point of that point?
Whatever.
To have reasonable doubts about this movie. That's what I'm saying. No. There's red flags to this movie.
No,
I know it's going to probably be good, but there's a bunch of red flags.
Flag is a literal red flag themselves.
No, that doesn't make any. I know.
I wrote like 4 employees up today because they told me this movie might not be good.
Did you really write people up?
No.
Yeah, they're on their finals. One more infraction, they're done. I don't need them. I don't need this negativity and fucking hate of
Don't
this
like
movie.
28 years
No,
later.
he probably made up some actual thing that, well, not made up. He just like, I was ignoring this, but now I'm just going to write it down. Because I saw you do a bunch of dumb shit I could have said something about. What'd I do? Actually, I have.
So there are reasonable doubts for this movie.
Well, I mean,
I know it'll probably be good because I have faith in these directors and the writer.
Yeah, but I'm not
And in
gonna,
the
I'm not going to
cast.
explain that to him, Scribbles. He's long too gone.
long too.
You have to actually like hack into the site and like figure it out with like.
Why the fuck am I gonna do that, you stupid fucks?
Not
But
like
both
hack.
of you. Fuck both
But
of
you
you.
had to like
All right.
do like
Actually, Scribbles,
secret
I'm sorry. I'm
coding.
just mad at Dylan. I don't mean
You
that.
had
Scribbles.
to do like
Scribbles, I
secret
don't mean
coding
you.
and
You've been actually
everything
really
to
cool
get
this
in.
entire cast. Scribbles, you get a pass. Fuck this guy.
Listen,
But anyways,
anyone that's any naysayer.
and now and then this brings us to the end of this, where we will now find out next week. Tune in on Tuesday. We're going to be having our full in-depth review of the 28 Years Later movie. By then, hopefully, I will have checked out the comic book. I ain't reading that fucking site. If the movie isn't good without that fucking site, I'm going to tear it apart.
If we don't,
I'm going to tear it apart. You're fucking soft because you need extra
You're
shit to make the
soft.
movie good.
You're soft.
Stupid fuck. But anyways, next week, join us. If it's as heated as it was this time, it's going to be awesome. I had a great time regardless.
It's not gonna be heated though because
You don't
there's
know
nothing
that.
wrong with the
You don't
movie.
know that. You don't know that.
I know everything.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
You're literally the type of person that's gonna hope that this movie's bad now just so
Absolutely
you can be
not. Absolutely not. You
No.
want because I love this franchise, and I really hope that they fucking do everything right, like they've done with the rest of these movies. You have a
Daisy.
minimalist.
I don't know. You seem to
Daisy.
not like what they did with this movie already.
Daisy. Okay.
I'm saying there are reasonable doubts. I'm not saying I'm not going to like this movie. I'm saying there's a reason to doubt that this might not be good, but I'm hoping it is because once again, as of right now, the first movie, awesome way to deal with budget, awesome low key indie like zombie movie. Second one for an action sequel, even though it has its boring moments, even though it just kind of trudges along, there's still great scenes in there. The acting was functional. It did add to the lore of this, which actually spurred more conversation about the development and the evolution of the virus that leads into 28 years later. It's not a great movie. The second one isn't the best, but it's still a good sequel to this franchise. And I'm hoping that this kicks off an even better trilogy where we can actually see the entire landscape of where this 28 years later environment takes us. I'm saying there are reasonable doubts, but I have faith in the director and the writer. So I am going into this with hopes, fairly decent hopes that it's going to be good.
I don't need to hope.
And also, this is also filmed on an iPhone, and I feel like it's a little
No,
weird.
it's been specified that they used iPhones and they've used plenty of normal and other
Okay, good.
filming services.
Okay, good.
Because every time someone's like, "Heard you use the iPhones," he's like, "Yes, we did."
But they
we
also show the cascade of how they use it. It's like 5 iPhones to get like a whole
five,
scene.
It's like
bro.
fucking
They made like
It was like
20
it was
on
like
a
a
giant
it was like a
view
rack, right?
platform.
Yeah, it was like on a rack. And then not only that, there's also another movie where they tried doing this. I don't know if you guys ever see it. It's about like a mental hospital or something. I think it's like called like Unsane or something.
No.
I forgot what it was, but they filmed that on the new iPhone, and actually it adds like the graininess, kind of like the first movie of 28 Days Later, where it just kind of makes it seem more visceral and real.
Yeah, but is that like a found footage movie?
No, it's
Okay.
it's literally a movie, but they shot it on like the newest iPhone at the time, and it kind of just looks more like a BBC film. But like I said, this I have faith in the director and the writer in this. You know what I mean? And Alex Garland's last movie, Civil War, fucking phenomenal.
I'm pretty sure he did Warfare also.
Did he do that also? Did he do Warfare?
Yeah,
What was the last Danny Boyle movie?
that.
What was the last movie that Danny Boyle directed?
Thank you, Jamie.
Danny Boyle directed the movie Yesterday in 2019. He is set to direct 28 years later in 2024.
I have not seen Yesterday.
This answer is from World.
Slumdog? No, apparently Yesterday in 2019. Oh, he
I
did
forgot
do
he did.
Slumdog.
I forgot
though,
he did
yeah.
Slumdog. Slumdog was really good too.
Yeah.
But once again, I'm going to this with knowing that these guys know what the fuck they're doing, and I'm already predicting I'm going to end up liking this a lot because I mean,
Because it's gonna be amazing.
I'm just saying it is probably going to be awesome. but I'm also looking forward to the debate we have in case it's not awesome. But anyways, thank you guys for joining us. This was actually a really cool cast. This is the most heated I think
That
we've
was
gotten
fun.
about a movie in a while, which is pretty sick. But yeah, I can't wait. Next week is going to be fun. Dylan's going to see this on Thursday. We're going to try and join him, but I'm pretty much going to attempt to try and see this at least 3 times
I'm already
before the
seeing it
cast.
twice on Thursday.
Let's see it on the weekend.
Do they have any other deals besides AMC that print?
I
things?
just know AMC's. I haven't seen any other.
Movie theaters. How come every other movie that's not good gets a popcorn bucket, but we don't get one for this?
What would the popcorn bucket be for this?
A fucking zombie head? I don't know. Maybe a Bone Temple fucking popcorn bucket would be sick. AMC next
I mean,
week.
Bone Temple.
Bone
is-
Temple. Bone Temple popcorn bucket. Get us that. That would be fucking
We have
awesome.
a good
Oh, they have the mask.
Oh, they have the mask as a popcorn bucket?
I don't know if it's a popcorn bucket, but he's saying they have the mask.
Jesus Christ. And on that note, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Everyone have a great night.
Thank you.
Daisy says
Who was the guy that Scribbles?
Scribbles.
Yes, thank you for joining us, man. That was
Yes.
really cool that you joined us. Next week, next Tuesday, I think we're doing this at 7:30. We said we're going to be doing this earlier just so we could talk more.
Let me.
Either way, next Tuesday, please come back because we are going to be discussing.
Yeah, either 7:30 or 8:30. Most likely, no, not most. There will be spoilers.
Oh, there
100%.
There will
We're
be
going to be
spoilers.
talking about everything in the movie.
Absolutely.
So if you haven't seen it yet, don't just hop in
Yep.
because you're going to hear something you don't want to hear.
Also, follow us on Instagram at Gooned Up Nerds, one word.
We are East Coast Scribbles, so it would be around 8:30 Eastern time.
Follow us on Instagram, man. We're Gooned Up Nerds, one word on Instagram.
Yep. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you for hanging, man.
Later, guys.
peace, y'all.
Oh, that was